You are listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter. Joining me from a different room than the studio, because we had technical difficulties, is my one and only co-host, out of two co-hosts, not to be completely confusing, the one, the only, Brock Loomis.
Hello.
And then special guests for this, but we might as well just call it a holiday episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast, our second time Fork Talker guester, author of the comic book Junior Braves, the one, the only, Greg Smith.
Hello.
And joining him is his co-host, if you want to call it that. This is a man who is coming from an undisclosed island somewhere in the southern hemisphere, maybe. He's known for many things that I probably can't talk about, so I won't. But he is the co-writer on a new comic book called Starlite with Greg Smith, the one, the only, Travis Webb.
Yo, geez.
What's up, dog? Yeah.
I got.
So great and terrible at the same time. It's fantastic. Just the right level of below the bar on this show.
It's our demo.
It is the demo. So you guys are on the air today because you guys are creating a comic book that, as far as I know, is yet to be released and is in the process of, is it being completed, or is the process of selling it to the masses at this point? Where's it at in the creative process here?
We are in the process of building up to the Kickstarter.
Sweet. That's excellent.
But I think Travis, would you say where Brett would be almost complete with the first issue?
Well, we probably should explain who Brett is really quick.
Oh my God,
that's it.
I know.
He's on
Travis,
top of things.
Dude, I am the worst. I'm garbage.
He's actually the most famous of the three of us, too.
Garbage.
Yeah. So Brett, who is the co-creator and artist, how does anyone say Brett's last name? Does anyone know how to say Brett's last name? And I'm his best friend. Brett
Wedley.
Wedley. Whittles. Brett Whittles.
It's big W, little E. There's an L and an E and a D and an E and an L. Woodell. Woodell. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, it's bad. Anyways, so Brett is an artist. The writing's done. we had just had the editor go through it, and so I'd say we are in the process of getting ready to start a Kickstarter once the art is complete, because we wanted to have everything done here in mid-January. Is that correct, Greg? Is that what we discussed?
Yeah.
So
letting everybody get over there that holiday money spending, and then all of a sudden they got the dollars in their wallets, in their hands, just waiting to spend on something fun and cool. And that fun and cool thing is going to be this.
There it is.
Front door. Whoa.
Front coming door. To get you.
Oh my gosh, they know I'm here.
Yeah, you said dollars. They're saying that's a bargain, so they got to get in on that. Oh man. So how long would you guys say that you guys spent writing this? It's a 7-issue series, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So writing's funny. We finished this last year, didn't we, writing wise?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the story, the comic, actually, the actual main issues were 6 of them were written over a weekend.
Oh wow! I mean, that's the way to do it, honestly. Like when you've got that spark, you got to run with it, right?
It was one of those things where Travis just jams. He gets an idea in his head, and he's like, "I got an idea, I'm jamming."
Does he use those specific words?
Yeah,
kinda.
Okay. He turns on a little blinker sign behind him. It says, "I'm jamming," and he just gives you the look.
I don't know, Travis. Would you? It's freeform text messages when you text when you're like, I got an idea, I'm just running with it, or phone calls where you're just like, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool, let's do this thing.
So
like,
meet me at the coffee shop.
So like I have how do you write? Like, do you plan all your writing out to flow from one idea to the next, or are you writing and then you're like, oh shit, this would be super fucking cool if we did this 10 pages ago, and then you kind of reformat it? Or is it something that's kind of constantly changing as you write?
All of the above.
Okay.
So with me, I can go both ways. It just really has to do with the project. I'm lucky enough that when the story finally comes to me, the story is kind of easy because it's like watching a movie and I'm just trying to take notes.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to keep up, and a lot of times the devices go off in my imagination as it's happening. So I'm like, why did I emphasize that? Oh yeah, because here I'm going to do this. And it actually happens chronologically. But then what will happen is I'll vomit on the page. And then I'm like, oh God, this is not readable.
Yeah.
This is really bad. And then we'll spend a year correcting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a majority of what we sent back and forth was the vomit file to just kind of figure out where it fit in the chapters or in the issues, and what was gonna make the best portions of your story. Because you had everything there. It was just oh yeah, this makes better sense here.
It was pulling out the nuggets from the proverbial pile of vomit.
Yeah, you look for the pizza because that's re-eatable.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And delicious.
So if Travis extrapolated all of these different kernels out of his idea stream into some semblance of a thing, what did you do, Greg?
What did I do? I was okay. So there's the idea person in some situations, and then the plotter. I was kind of the plotter for the story.
Oh, I see.
So running through, he was coming up with all the ideas, and then we were just kind of working through what was the throughput, where we were gonna go, and then did we replicate and duplicate things over and over again in every issue. So almost kind of when you go to the store and you see a parent with their child, and that parent is kind of like a handler. I was
Sure.
like Travis's handler in the story. No, I mean, like, I think a lot of it was just
transdimensional spiders, Travis. Get your hands off the donuts.
you can't have 5 donuts. You already had 5 donuts. I can have as many donuts as I want. Get the donuts out of your pants, Travis. It's a true story.
That happened, actually. That's a really good example of something that happened.
True story. But I think a lot of it was just like going back through and being the second set of eyes. A lot of it was meeting up, and when Travis presented the story idea to me, actually, and we haven't even talked about what the story of Starlite is, but like literally gave me 3 pages to read, and I looked across the table at the coffee shop and I cried, and I was like,
oh wow,
please let me be like more of whatever you're doing, because like, and this is awesome. Like, and from that point on, it was like I was his like check-in, you know, more or less, just like, okay, am I what have I already, because like he had so much world out there, and
sure.
you know, and it was such a big story.
Okay.
for such a I don't there was a lot of different portions of things that he was putting into it, and you know, just trying to make sure like each issue wasn't duplicating something else in the same place, if it were. So just being that second set of eyes.
Okay, I gotcha. So maybe then Travis would like to tell us the grabber synopsis that would make a person either stop by your booth, because I know you guys have been running around at Comic-Cons, various ones, and come on over to your Kickstarter in the new year with those dollars, as Greg says.
With the dollars, that'd be great. But as you can see, Travis has left the call.
Oh shit! Did he? Oh, okay.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, Greg, what's the elevator pitch for Starlite?
Okay, the elevator pitch for Starlite is a story that I think most people would. I think the idea of the story would resonate with most people, or most people would be intrigued by such a tale. It's a story about 2 young teenager, and I fall right through the hole in the floor. Ah! Ow. Okay.
So, elevator pitch. The time of an elevator. I'm an elevator.
I know, right? I know. It's horrible. This is like, Travis, I did no justice to this. Okay. 2 kids. They've got superhero powers as young children. They are a young superhero team. They lose their powers as teenagers, or they go dormant. What's going on? We don't know. One becomes the super awesome, I'm going to be very much like the real life embodiment of Steve Rogers, Chris Evans, whatever you want to call it. And he goes off to be the best that he can be. His sister goes off and leads the life of the fallen starlets that we've seen all the time. Those stories that adorn the news racks in your Fred Meyer Safeways, or your fallen what are those stores that you just don't shop in anymore? Well, they don't matter because they're not around. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop shopping at them. Yes, those stores, exactly, those ones right there. Okay. So she's living the life of that. She's turned to doing things like drugs and going to raves to get that feeling of being the feeling of being the superhero that she once was. There are out there space cat pirates who have come to kidnap them, that don't, their superpowers are no longer active, to steal them back for their space pirate wizard overlords. Oh crap, what happened?
This is like my life story right here. I love it. Space cat
Everything
wizard pirates.
What? Everything cut out, so I don't know. Did
Yeah.
y'all get that? I mean, basically,
Space cat wizard
there's
pirates
a dog
are
and
coming.
a monkey, and they ride into the sunset. What?
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna go ahead and try the elevator.
See,
Guys.
it looks like he's having technical
All right,
difficulties
Travis.
again.
Are you guys ready?
Sure.
2 former childhood superheroes are kidnapped by space pirates on behalf of trans-dimensional spider aliens.
Okay.
Wizards.
That was very concise.
Wizards.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what came through.
Yeah.
Cut some stuff out. It's like trans-dimensional space cat. Nothing. Wizards.
Wizards.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Basically, these 2 kids used to be superheroes when they were kids. They were kind of like an analog of like all those kid superheroes when we were kids, like the Bionic Six and Power Pack, and like, oh look, if a little kid has a superpowers, they would also be able to save the day, but they can't. They're
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah.
And in our story, that realization happened in the comic. Like somebody in like the analog of the Avengers was like, she's 7 years old and he's like 10, right? Like, and we're fighting a giant alien who looks like it has huge boobs and, a thing growing out of its head. It's probably not appropriate for them to be helping us,
Yeah.
And so they got forcefully retired and told, hey, you got to be normal kids. And they got pushed back to high school and told no more being superheroes, no more superpowers, no Alex Mack, none of that stuff, right? And one of the kids, the eldest, who's really, if you take it from the idea that every issue of their past, every one of their adventures was always a meetup with a more famous real superhero, then he really got obsessed with the idea of what it means to be a superhero, somebody of great power and great responsibility. He's a Peter Parker wannabe, but now he's stuck in high school and he doesn't get to be Spider-Man anymore. And he has a little sister. Well, he still believes in all these things. He still tries to be an upright, good citizen, captain of the football team, take care of his little sister. Now, his little sister, she had more intense powers. She had insane powers, but she was only 5 when she got her powers. So she, between the age of 5 and 10, she had like the powers of a small goddess in a 5-year-old. And it wasn't a smart idea. It's not a good idea to have a 5-year-old. Yeah. And so when they take those away from her, she's still obsessed with the energy and the magic and the power that she had growing up because she had it her whole life from her perspective. Because when you're a kid,
cray.
she went cray. Yeah. So she ends up kind of doing the classic like child actor thing where she hits high school, she misses the power, she starts trying drugs, she starts feeling helpless, and she wanders into the rave scene and just eats ecstasy all day. And that's the story until the cats show.
Space cat pirates gonna steal you away.
I mean, that sounds super interesting, and like I'm curious to read it about like what the brother obviously probably has a little bit better of a grounding in reality of like what it means to have powers and not have powers, where this little girl probably didn't when she lost them. Like it was probably her favorite toy getting taken away, and you know how kids can be when you take their favorite toys away. Well, I mean, I do at least.
Yeah.
And like it would be interesting to I would be interested to see the story of like the process in her head of like, oh, they're taking something away from me, like let's just destroy everything. Like that's where my head would go to story wise, and I'm curious to see if that gets played out in your story. And you don't have to tell me if it does, because I don't want you to reveal too much.
Right? Like if we didn't play that out, how interested would you be in the story? Like that's exactly what we want to explore in a narrative like this. So you're spot on what we explore, but how we explore is what's unique.
Yeah,
exactly. And you're totally right. I mean, like you got this kid that has this like a tremendous power. It's like she's like Trogdor the Burninator. I mean, you can't contain that. power.
Burninating the
entertain it.
people. Burninating everybody.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's actually really interesting. I always liked those kind of stories in especially like, you know, seeing when Superman loses his powers in comics or even in the cartoons, he's just like, huh, well, you know, I'm gonna just go back to kind of doing my own thing, and it's just like I just can't fly now, and I can't like punch through a wall, but I'm still gonna try and do it. And then, but then you have other superheroes who just they lose their absolute minds. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's super cool.
Do you remember being a teenager?
Oh yeah, I do.
We hope so.
Depressing it was to be a teenager because you're coming to the realization that childhood is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine childhood involved having superpowers.
That's so much worse.
Yeah. That
I
would.
mean,
Let's add another. Let's make it even meaner. You still secretly have your powers.
No, don't tell him that. Oh God, no. It'll be done.
edit.
It's on the cover.
Oh God, I know. Well, no, that could just be. She's just playing with a rave toy, dude. She's playing with a rave toy. She's got a cool light stick. It's a cool light stick. God damn it.
We missed that opportunity, dude. We missed it.
Yeah, I mean, you totally should have saved that. That's like I remember being younger and in the 90s when Terminator 2 was coming out.
You're coming for me again.
But they it's like they could have played this awesome trailer where you didn't know if Arnold was the good Terminator and you didn't know if Patrick Stemley,
Whatever his name was.
yeah,
I mean, Robert Patrick?
yeah,
Robert
Robert
Patrick.
Fucking
Robert Patrick,
uneducated
whatever.
person.
And it's like you could have had this entire build up through like the release of the movie and then like the first 20 minutes. I think that would have made it's like, they revealed it in the trailer. Why would you do this to us?
Because trailer people are dumb and have been for decades.
I know, they did it with Terminator Genesis 2. It was so terrible. It made me not want to ever see the movie.
I haven't seen it.
Don't. You saw the movie when you saw the
good?
trailer. Like, that's what it was. The movie was the trailer.
Oh. But it had the mother dragons in it, right?
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah, awesome. Burninator.
I mean, now. Fair enough. So, is this your first comic book project, Travis?
No. So this is the careful part.
Sure.
Travis.
No pressure. You're only being recorded right now.
Yeah.
This is
So,
live, too, actually.
No, it's not fucking live. I barely handle
They're
fucking
coming
recording. If I
for you,
did live,
Travis.
fucking something would catch fire.
Right.
So I did an independent comic like 10 years ago, almost 12 years ago, I guess now. Geez. And that didn't go very, very far. And then I do a lot of work for hire work, like doctor work and ghostwriting, a lot of ghostwriting. I still do. Actually, this year's been a little sparse because I've been trying not to take any ghostwriting gigs. So that's actually how Greg and I and Brett and everybody know each other, how I have contacts and I end up at Comic-Con and stuff is that I've worked for a lot of other writers, fixing their stuff or writing stuff they couldn't get done in time for Split, and then putting their name on it. So it's not my first comic. It was my first graphic novel end-to-end piece, which is where Greg was a lot of help.
Sure.
Because when I've done some doctoring or I've ghost written something for somebody because they were behind on their deadlines, traditionally in an issue to issue run, you do a minor recap in the first page in dialogue or some activity or something that causes the reader to know where you're at before you begin the next issue. And in graphic novels, you don't do that. Oh, 1 second.
Sure.
What's going on? Sorry, the little chihuahuas are barking like crazy all of a sudden.
Oh no,
Anyways.
they're coming for you.
Yeah. Anyway, so Greg was the one who had to come back, and we were talking about you can't have 6 donuts, and that was one of the things we ran into. Is at the beginning of every chapter, I was doing a mini recap, and the complete whole narrative that becomes repetitive and annoying.
Sure.
But as an individual issue, it's helpful because you want to be able to pick it up off the newsstand and know where you're at and why the Green Lantern is, fighting whoever he's fighting that week.
Mm-hmm.
What's a newsstand?
Oh, snap.
Oh yeah, there's no newsstand anymore. Yeah,
You killed them all, kids.
Oh man. Gosh.
No, that's interesting. I mean, I guess kind of in this day and age, especially when you're, I guess, binge watching or binge reading, like when you get a whole, like a compendium, like Walking Dead, it's like, oh, we can just take out this whole page and a half of recap. And it's like, oh, you can skip an entire, 5 minutes of an episode essentially because of a recap when you're, Netflix or Hulu or something.
Yeah.
in fact, they have the skip recap button now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's very true.
And like a lot of what we were doing too was like it was a total interesting flip because as Travis said, a lot of his work has been in the in the doctoring for other people. For me, that's not something that I've done. So to be called in by the doctor to doctor for the doctor,
Yeah.
what? It was a weird thing because he's like, hey dude, I need you to like help me figure out where these 3 pages need to go or how to bring them, like fold them in or
Sure.
take them out, whatever. So it's like, oh, okay. The doctor's called on me to doctor him. What am I? Part of him now?
That was,
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
a huge
God.
trust.
Huh?
That was actually a huge trust thing
Oh,
because I have
Sure.
a pretty good reputation
Yeah.
everywhere. As anyone who knows who I am will be like, oh yeah, Travis will fix your shit. I
Mhm.
go and I fix stuff, and I've worked on some films and a couple of other things, and so I met Greg through that
I feel like
experience.
saying some films is being a little modest there, Travis.
he's being
I'm
very
trying
modest.
to be modest because when I'm not modest, even an accidental slip up can cause an NDA to have a person with an NDA have a meltdown on me.
Fair
I
enough.
have an NDA. I have a real one that literally says the director and I are not allowed to make eye contact or talk to each other at conventions
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
Fair enough.
because we can't give hints. We
Yeah.
can't give any hint that I ever worked on that project, even though we're friends now. The director and I are still friends.
Huh.
Can't make at cons. We have to pretend like we don't even see each other,
That's
so there
interesting.
can't be any hint.
So I have a question about that because you've been doing that for, I mean, what, decades at this point?
Yeah, almost 2 decades.
So on a personal level, is it gratifying that you have a reputation of fixing things, but at the same time, is it also like kind of like, I mean, I don't know, for lack of a better term, depressing that like people don't know?
Hey, Greg.
Oh, gee,
Greg,
yeah.
what's it feel like?
Because I've had my own experience of this as well too in the past. Yeah, it doesn't feel good at all. I can tell you that. But I don't know, not to speak for Travis, but I know that Brett and I, one of the things that we were very like when this all came up, it was when Travis approached us both. Brett and I both were like, this is the one thing that we want to make sure it gets done because we want Travis to actually get his name on a thing because he needs to get known for the things that he does do
Yeah.
and not known for the things that he's done. Does that make sense?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I feel you.
So I'm pretty familiar with NDAs. I worked for Valve in Bellevue, and the NDA they had me sign was super crazy. And like even like I wasn't even allowed on podcasts or stuff that were related to gaming, and so I actually had to take up a pseudonym.
Oh yeah, I totally forgotten that's why you took.
Yeah,
up those
and
names.
I never discussed anything on that podcast that was like pertained to Valve or anything. But it's
Mhm.
like this was the first podcast that me and Tim did together, and I had to like we were talking about a book that was being turned into a show, and it was like anything entertainment related. Like I was technically not allowed to do it. So like it's really
They
weird.
heard you talk about it. They're coming for you now.
No, the NDA is expired. This was
Okay.
like it was like
Yeah.
a 5 or 6 year NDA. So that like to go back to your NDAs, like how how is your name out there if you're not allowed to like advertise that you've worked on projects? Like, you know how people always try to get starving artists
That is a fantastic question.
to work for free and be like, you know, this gets your art out there. Why don't you do it for free? Like, how does it, like, you just give them a card that says, hey, I'm so and so, give this to the next person? Like, is it like some secret circle that you like have secret handshakes for? Like
Ghostwriters of America, I guess.
Ghostwriters wear this special ring, you know, and there's a code on the back of our rings, and we show the ring to real writers, and we're like, part of the society, the Ring Key Society.
Yeah. So like I'm curious as to like how your name gets like disseminated through the circles of, you know, writers and you know, those kind of peoples that you want your name to be known to.
Just a side note before he answers, that sounds like a fucking fantastic pitch for a Mad Men style TV show of like writers who are never known, but they like work on all these things,
and they're mega rich, or they're like just super well to do. Like that would be.
That's how I knew Travis was who he was, because our rings matched up. So like we turned our hands and they just they mated.
It's like yours was forged with piece A, his was forged with piece D. They interlocked together, and together they united.
Yes.
That's how that went down. So, Brock, were you the one you said that you signed the NDA with Valve?
Yes.
So I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna frighten you.
Yeah.
That's the same NDA.
He's saying he has the same NDA.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wish we could talk. We literally can't.
Oh man. You know what? Like, depending on when you
this
may
podcast
have,
is over. All right, been nice chatting, guys.
Yeah. Cancel podcast now.
Yeah.
Entering dark mode.
Yeah. That's super crazy. But I mean, this is I think with the way things are now, that's man, that's super weird. I may have seen or met you.
Probably not. I can't say why or anything.
That's fine.
Probably did.
Okay.
That was a weird.
Can't say why. That's why he's on an island.
I literally didn't know.
Nah, I gotcha. That's okay. Oh man, that's super crazy.
If you guys could see his face right now, he's just like, what? Yeah. Like he's stroking his beard just like
we'll be oh, go ahead.
He's just stroking.
Yeah, I was like, oh man. I was trying to think. I was like, did I meet any Travises? Great. Like it's just, oh man.
I go by pseudonym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's crazy.
That's a Master 69. You might have known me.
Master 69. Of course. So, given the fact that it's been like a full year since you guys, like, I guess, probably nailed down the script, and like you said, you've been working with an editor this year, and then, you know, the artist guy obviously has to make the panels happen. You know, is it just the nature of the beast that it's like taken this long? Because you guys both, well, all three of you guys, I'm sure, like work on various different projects and stuff throughout the year, or is it just like it's taken that long because you want to get it right?
Quality takes time.
Also getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing a Kickstarter project, there's no upfront money.
Oh,
and we all have real projects that are paying us up front. So whatever's coming in cash first stalls the Kickstarter.
Sure, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why it's important for us to get the art completely done, the book completely done before we launch the Kickstarter, so there's no risk of any of our lives problems causing a delay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because last thing
So
we'll back this thing and not be able to send it out.
Sure.
We don't want to be one of those Kickstarters.
Oh, I see.
And Brett actually is pretty high risk right now because he gets picked up for really big stuff. You know, like he can get picked up by Image and suddenly he has to stall because he's to do a comic for Image.
Sure.
You know,
And-
one of the delays at one point is he did a Vampirella. This is how long the project's been around for a while now. With Greg, before Greg got involved with Brett and I, the first time Brett brought it up with me, we'd talked about it a couple years before. And I actually said no and did it. Like I said, we did 6 issues in one weekend. But
Yeah.
the pilot issue, the issue where I kind of sprawled out the idea, I did with Brett, and it stalled back then because he had to do Vampirella.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
okay.
So
Interesting.
we just have to make sure everything's done. Brett's done pretty much, I think, with everything at this point. So I think we have no problems shooting for January for the Kickstarter. And while it's doing the Kickstarter, that's when we'll be actually doing the publication approvals back and forth with the print house.
Okay.
Inside baseball.
Well, it sounds good. And if you guys need me to, I'll gladly cut you guys an audio ad that I'll slap into the future podcast once your Kickstarter's gone live to promo your shit.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I've actually done that a lot for other folks and stuff and various stuff over the time. Ironically.
Ironically.
Well,
I say it
question
ironically because like people be like, oh yeah, an ad, and then I'll like make an ad and I'll like throw it up and then put it in my shit for like the next like 8 months and then like hand it to them so they can put it into other stuff too, and then they'll be like cool, I'm not paying for that. and I'm like, that's cool, I like you just the same, thanks. So,
Like, whatever.
but no worries for that. I got you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, bro. So, so Greg, since it sounds like this experience, you know, you have like a totally different experience within this comic than your past comics, where you know you've worked with your friends and your buddies, or you've been brought into, you know, kind of like I believe, unless my information is somehow askew, like on Junior Braves, like you're not the only writer, right?
Correct.
So for you coming into Starlite, and it's, you know, both being a different experience and sort of I guess sort of quality checking Travis's stuff as he's putting it all together and making sure that like when it reaches the public, like the sequence makes sense, you know, and they're not having to go back to a Reddit post to be like, oh yeah, that's why this was this way or whatever, you know. How has that experience been? And then especially because unless there are projects that I'm unaware of, this is your first foray into sci-fi as well, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so to answer the sci-fi question, this would be technically the first foray into sci-fi for a comic book or a graphic novel. So yeah, it's been pretty fun. Sci-fi is definitely something that I love. I like. Have a big spot in the heart for it, so it's been fun to be able to work on this with Travis and be able to talk about all sorts of crazy stuff that just, you know, like different types of theories and other things. That how does this work? What's the science behind it? How would that happen? Is that plausible? How will it look? And can it be done? You know, and make sense. So that's been really cool. Being brought into the project itself and doing something totally outside of the writing style that I'm used to. It is a different type of flow, if you will. Being I'm like the word handler, the editor before the editor, if you will, because there's an editor working on this, but my job was really just making sure the flow and the rhythm of the story was there, and then going back and working with the characters and stuff that were there to make sure that they were fitting in and stuff. So it wasn't it was a little more than just you know that, but it was also different than being like from the beginning. So coming in the middle of the idea generation, and working with Travis on it was a unique experience because I was able to come in and read through what he'd already provided and be like, oh, I totally love this. I really, like, how do I help you? Because it was something, like I said, reading those first couple pages that he provided to me, it totally made me cry over coffee. And it was like, it hit me in the feels that hard that I was like, this is a really good story. I want more of this, right? More of this. The world needs more of this story. I don't know where this is all coming from, but this is like definitely a story that people want. There's people out there that want to read it. And as the story unfolded, and as we started to write more and more, and as you started to, get more into the characters and how they kind of flow through the rest of the series, I almost said season, because I could see it as a show. And that speaks volumes for what he's put together and what we've worked on through this time. It's one of those things where it's like, you're like, these characters are very relatable, human characters, the cat pirate characters, not so much the spider wizard characters, but then again, they're evil. You can sense evil. We know evil people. You can put them into the context of whatnot, but or are they evil? I don't know. But that in itself it's been fun just writing that with him. I sensed a question.
There's so many questions. They're just percolating. They're like,
throw
like
something else out there.
They're like below the surface on that. So he said he showed you like a script for Starlite, right? And so obviously Travis has ghostwriting stuff that we obviously can't talk about here. So Travis, when you wrote the script, is it in like Hollywood script form, or is it in like comic book script form, or is it just like, here's kind of like the beats and it's like a word slog document, and that I would assume Greg would have to then be able to parse to get him to cry in a coffee shop?
It's written in comic book script form.
Okay.
Style guides are key to being a ghostwriter. Ghostwriters, like, you have to be. When I first started doing this, the first person I ever met that ever did any ghostwriting, what he told me was really interesting. He said, you have to be better at writing than any writer. And so one of the ways you do that, you become. I know it sounds.
That is the greatest
crazy
statement. Like, you have to be better than any writer.
I mean, it makes sense though.
Well, it is like a good example. One of the best ghostwriters in Hollywood is actually Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
and I just said that on the air, so I don't know if that's common knowledge or not. But he is an amazing ghostwriter. He's called in a lot, and part of the keys is he understands narrative extremely well.
Yeah,
terrible grammar, but he understands extremely well, and so he's better at narrative probably than almost any writer in Hollywood. Now, his dialogue is wooden and broken a lot of times, and his grammar's bad, and I don't think he's that great. The way he writes his screenplays, the way he follows his style guide has been a little hybrided over the years. But that's what you got to look at. You got to look at what are my true skills are. And I can't, when I write a comic book, I have a really strong understanding of who my audience is versus when I work on a screenplay or I work on a novel, right? There are three different audiences to write to, right? And when you work on a novel, you're writing directly to your audience. You're having a relationship directly with the reader, right? When you write a film, you're writing a skeleton, like an architecture for the story, for people who are better than you that are going to write the story or make the story happen, right? So the director, the producer, the cinematographer, the DP, all these guys, they're all going to do a better job than you. You're just building out a framework. In comic books, you're writing to your artist. Your artist is the one who's going to make the comic book. You're writing to them. You have to know the artist if you want to do it well, or know how to write to artists. An artist reads page to page, panel to panel. They
Yeah.
hardly ever know what the story is they're drawing. So when I wrote this one, Starlite specifically, I was writing for Brett, who was the one who kind of pushed to make the story happen in the first place.
Sure.
We should point out Brett
Yeah.
really was the, like, you know, Travis, go write this story for me, you know. And then Travis, go call Greg because, you know, I can see you're stressing on this. So
yeah, Brett has
great
been the
guy.
heartbeat on this, like to make sure that things have been like boom, 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 which is really cool because you don't see that a lot in a lot of comics. It's usually the other way around. So to have the artist be the boom, 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 it's usually an editor. Sorry.
No, it's good. But yeah, so what we wrote, what he got was a very strict for Brett script for comic books. So panels are numbered, boxes or dialogue boxes are numbered. You know, everything. Detail how many panels are on per page, where panel placement is, where people are in the placement of the panel. Brett likes everything written out because he doesn't like to sit back for approvals and have the writer go, "This isn't what I imagined." Then you have to tell Brett exactly what you imagined.
That's really interesting because then that takes it to like a different level of just comic books in general. You know, it seems like a very interpersonal relationship between the writer and the artist, and then like coming together to like put this story out for everybody to like see and feel and hear, you know, and have it resonate on different levels, both on the back end with the writing and the drawing, and then on the front end as the entertainment value for, you know, schmucks like us.
Well, it's interesting the way that he talked about. I guess there's, you know, script style guides and stuff, because like I was asking that question from the perspective of having attempted to work on a comic book with an artist friend of mine before, and it was a similar thing where he really wanted to make it a comic, and I had written it as the only thing that I've written before, which is book form. And I remember going to, oh gosh, a Comic-Con like 6 years ago or something like that, and I'd asked at an image panel of Matt Fraction, who has done a bunch of shit for Image and is probably most famous for his 5-year run on Invincible Iron Man for Marvel. And I was like, how the hell do you translate a book to a comic book? And he told me very bluntly, and if anybody's ever met this dude, he's like very I mean, him writing Tony Stark, like you get a very Tony Stark vibe from him, and then he's like you fucking don't. He's like, I'm a fucking comic book writer. Like I have no idea how the fuck to even like put words to a page that makes sense in a novel. So he's like you've done something that like I cannot do. He's like, I am a comic book writer and I know that. So he's like, I don't know what fucking advice to give you other than read some books and find some like behind the scene comics things. And he pointed out
Scott McCloud.
He pointed out Sandman series has like a deluxe edition or something like that has the way that Neil Gaiman wrote the comic script as some kind of thing that I could look at. And so it was interesting that you, coming from ghostwriting, were just like you have a skill in taking word and then like transposing wordsmith transposing between.
It's called wordsmithing.
Shut the fuck up, Brock.
Transmorgifying
your shit between different mediums. Fucking shut the fuck up. Stop your fucking laugh, man, you piece of shit.
Yeah, that's a weird skill that just happened because of the ghost. It's not like I set out and said I'm going to learn how to write novels, comic books, scripts, screenplays. I didn't set out to do that. It was just like, hey man, you can write. Can you figure this out? And I'm like, oh, by the way, I also write manuals. Just side note.
Yes.
Yes.
It was-
He writes
That's
the
what-
shit out of them.
The most
Just
interesting
manuals on
thing
manuals.
that you could talk about writing.
Well, but somebody has to.
Well,
obviously.
when we were linking up the calls, he was like, "Oh yeah, I worked on this manual, and I still can't figure out how to use my phone." And I was like, "Oh, that makes me feel so much better that I'll sit there and read a manual, and I can't even figure it out." And then we got someone who worked on a manual. I was like, "Okay, sweet. I'm not a total idiot, just mostly."
Gosh. Okay, well then that brings me a question about manual, because obviously I missed some shit while I was fucking around with cables. So when you're writing a manual for something, like, do you have like notes or some shit from like the design team of like how it's supposed to do blah function, and then it's your way to fucking transpose like how to eloquently communicate that to like fucking Joe Blow down the street who's just been handed his device or whatever?
So when I first got hired to do manuals, I thought that's how it worked. It's not.
Okay.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of tech and a lot of industry in the world, so maybe somewhere companies got their acts together. But I can
Sure.
tell you, in tech, it's usually a third-party company that specializes in content development, and they're just shipped a blank device a
That's
couple
fucked.
weeks or a couple months beforehand,
That's
and
so
told to
fucked.
write the manual. Yeah. I mean, you get some notes. I can tell you, like, I'll give you an example of a famous device that we're probably using on this call. And when they shipped it, it was underpowered. It didn't do something extremely normal for business users.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to say it was Exchange, but it might have been connecting to Exchange for email. But
Okay.
it couldn't do that at all. But the tech notes they had sent us told us it could. We spent 3 days trying to connect to Exchange, and finally admitted they never got it to work, and they were going to release it without it working and
That's
patch
fucked.
it later.
That's so
And-
terrible.
Yeah, and then they told us we weren't allowed to say it couldn't connect to the Exchange, but we also didn't have the patch that was going to make it connect to Exchange,
So you
we
didn't know
couldn't
how it
document
worked.
Right. There was no way to even do an image or do any text for it. So what we wrote in that particular manual, and this will call it out if someone ever finds it, we just wrote that you can connect to Exchange with it.
That's amazing.
Gosh, man. That's
Oh man. It was
That's-
8 months before they ever got those devices to connect to Exchange.
That's
Oh,
so
man.
funny. So, as our listeners of the show know, my day job is in the construction world of automatic doors, and everybody. I mean, maybe not you guys, but like when you walk through a door and it fucking magically opens for you, right? Like there's a
Yes.
fuck ton of shit that happens to make that happen. And I was working on this. I'm not going to name the brand. I was working on this brand of sensor for an automatic door, and I could not get it to fucking calm the fuck out and do the job that it was supposed to fucking do in the thing. So I was like, oh man, is this thing fucking bugged or whatever? And I ended up going through like 6 different phone calls. It's like the middle of the night. I'm trying to get this to work so the supermarket doesn't like lose all their heat in the winter. And I finally get a hold of this guy at the company, and he's the guy who does the like beta testing and the manuals and shit for their product. And I was talking to him, really nice guy. I still have his number saved. And he was just like, "Oh no, that model number of sensor is a total piece of shit."
Oh,
And
man.
then he's like, "Yeah, no, don't follow any of those things in the instruction manual." And I was like, "Oh, great, that's okay. What do you want me to do?" And
Throw it away.
I had to do like this ass backwards thing that wasn't in the manual, and like flip some dip switches and turn it on and off. And none of this shit was in the manual, just to get it to semi function the way that it was supposed to per instructions and whatnot. So I have a little bit of reality of the fact that, like, yeah, fucking They probably don't give all the data in the products, but they say otherwise.
So you just told us that you're basically playing a real life video game. You talked to an NPC. You got like, did you get coin for this, or did you get like a diamond exchange? I don't know what just happened, but it sounds pretty awesome, Tim.
I mean,
The door now closes and opens.
yeah,
You leveled up.
basically. Oh my gosh. It doesn't fucking feel like that. I'll tell you that right now.
It's so weird because that totally just reminded me. For about 6 months, I wrote manuals for buildings. I know that sounds weird, but there are manuals
No,
for big buildings.
I understand. I've seen them.
And
they're generally dumb.
Paste. Yeah, well, we'll copy and paste stuff out of the manuals, other manuals for devices we put in the building. So, like, that door you're talking about, I don't know what door it was, but I can tell you for sure that I've run in in the 6 months I was there, I ran into automatic doors which had instructions that our tech came back and said, "There's no way in hell this works."
Yeah.
I had to go with the tech and the engineer and try to figure the door out and write new instructions for the manual because the real manuals didn't work.
Oh my god.
That was the worst.
I mean, I feel like the moral of this story is that anywhere you go, instructions and products are gonna fucking let you down.
Yeah, there's no meeting in the middle for them.
Yeah.
It's either they're done or it's a flat out lie. Or
That's why I just never look at them. I just throw them away.
you just wing it. Yeah, I mean, I do
just
that too.
That's what my dad always said. He's like, these are garbage anyways. Like,
gosh.
I mean, just figure it out. It's not how life's supposed to be. Damn
it. just throw
That's
that
why my
thing
computer
away.
Doesn't work half the time. No.
Gosh. So what so it's almost 2020, which is insane to think about. There's going to be no more teens for the rest of our lives.
What do you mean? They're all gonna, like, all those young people are dying? What, going away?
Wow,
I don't understand
Greg,
what's happening.
immediately go for the Thanos just mass genesis.
Snap. Well, I mean, I didn't understand.
Like 2019s or whatever. We're just the slow march to the next.
I thought you were saying demographic was going to disappear.
Heat death.
Yeah.
How are you going to sell that book on Kickstarter when everyone who reads it's dead?
I know, right? This is going to be total. This is bad.
This is not where I was going at
bad
all.
deal, dude.
We've gotten terribly askew in the depressing column here. I was just saying. So 2020 is around the corner.
I mean, that makes me curious though. What is it called? Because there's infant side,
which is where you still on this?
Kill babies. But is there like toddler side or like Tina side where you know I'm actually curious about this now.
Oh my!
I'll have to look it up later.
Jesus Christ.
Oh boy!
So what
it's
I
like
was
the reverse
saying,
of the TV show where all the adults die.
Yeah, there's
all children. There's like 5 or 6 shows like that. And I like them all. I think they're all interesting. The idea where, I mean, not to talk about the thing that we've already talked about before, but I mean, kids just having to deal with shit. It is interesting, but adults having to deal with shit, now that's even more interesting because there's a lot of no, they've already dealt with it. I'm sorry, I'm off track again.
For the sake of the podcast, so everyone knows this, my next book actually has a generation called The Missing Generation in the book. So you guys know, I thought of that before we did this podcast. God damn it.
Travis is already working on
I need this time stamped and postmarked. And
he's like, I just want all your listeners to know that redacted is redacted in the future.
Oh my gosh. I was like sitting here listening to you guys talk about it. I was like, oh man, you guys are talking about a concept I'm already using. Didn't even think that was every time. Every
goddamn time.
It's like episode 4 of Rick and Morty. Season 4.
Yeah.
One more quick on that one. Greg and I met a girl that used to be a fan of mine, and she became a writer. And we met her at a con. And I realized while I was talking to her, I never thought about it because I just met her, right? Mm-hmm. But I have a screenplay out right now being optioned, and this title screenplay is her name by coincidence.
Shit.
I'm like, need to tell you something real quick. The first time I've ever met you, in the first 2 minutes I've met you, I have a that has your name. So I need you to know I wrote that before I knew who you were.
Oh my gosh.
That almost sounds like it'd be super annoying to be a writer and have that, like, you're like, oh, god damn it. Now I have to, like, explain myself. And if I don't, it looks like I'm, like, ripping it off, or, you know, that sounds like it'd get real tiring.
It's really annoying.
Oh, man.
It's really annoying on
"Hey, man,
projects that never come to light.
It's
Okay.
no, you. No, please.
You?
Okay, you.
All right.
What?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, okay. You're doing the thing. Do the thing.
Like, what's your book about? Well, my book's about, teenagers. Oh, you mean like The Journey of Natty Gann? And you're like, fuck you. That's annoying.
You just fucking put both middle fingers up. You know, this is what you got for you. I got this for you, you fucking fuck.
What's your book about? Oh, my book's about cars. You mean like the movie Cars? Shut the fuck up.
I will fucking kill you.
I'm not. I hate to admit it, but I was that person once or twice. But to be honest, it is easy to be that person. So if you are that person, I mean, you get the pass once or twice, but don't be that person all the time for the rest of your life. Acknowledge that you've done it, grow from it.
I feel like that's asking an awful lot of those kind of people.
I mean,
I know, but
like at a certain
I
point,
felt
sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, no, please, you, Brock.
Oh, okay. I was like, at a certain point,
I was gonna say,
like, you
should at
it.
one point,
What?
What? You fucking text him to the top.
Like, no, you go. Like, Brock's face as Greg continues is like, this motherfucker right here.
I'm sorry, I was totally unaware.
So what you're saying, Greg, is that you still are that person.
Still are that. I'm sorry, unaware.
Now we're all not talking.
Oh my god.
For anyone that doesn't know, I was a clown at one time in my life, so I'm just clowning Brock. I apologize.
Yeah,
Okay,
you are.
Yeah.
I get it. I think it's hilarious because, so we live and we work together, and we've known each other for 26 years. So we will just rag on each other all day, every day, as hard as we fucking possibly can. Like, fucking, turn signal. Like, oh, you should have put your turn signal on, you stupid, dumb fuck. You can't do anything right in this line. And I was like, I'm sorry. Who had the fucking child?
Right? Yeah. The child accident.
Oh, no. A child accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Wait, ran over a child?
No.
Again, dark.
No.
Jesus.
Like I had a one night stand, and then a year and a half later, I got a knock on my door with custody papers.
It's supposed to be 9 months, dude.
Oh, no. She didn't know who the dad was, so she was trying to pawn it off on her current boyfriend, and then he wanted paternity tests done, so I got a knock on my door to get paternity tested.
You are a Jerry Springer episode in a box. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting.
Oh yeah, it's like a whole you
don't even know the half
saga,
of it, right?
man.
I'm sorry.
It's
more
sorted out now.
like in life.
Yeah, the Maury Povich life.
Yeah, it really was.
Travis, we didn't even know what we were signing up for. Oh my gosh.
Okay, cool. So before we went into inevitable heat death of all the teenagers in the universe, what I was trying to say, 2020, it's around the corner. Is there projects or hopeful projects that you guys are looking forward to in the next year?
Greg, you can go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah, you have a cool project.
Do I have a cool project coming up? Yeah, Starlite's coming out. It's going to be awesome. Coming out in 2020. Who's successful? Oh, wait. Other than let's see.
I mean, if you have to strain for a bowel movement to get one, like, it's okay.
I'm thinking. Well, I mean, like Junior Braves 3 may come out. That depends on Zach and his art. But I mean, like I said before, quality takes time, and his art is actually really crushing it. So
I mean,
think
it also
we
didn't
don't
sound
really
like
have
you
a
just
date on
called him
that.
out for being a slow artist too. But
No,
you know.
I'm not calling him out for being a slow artist. Calling him out for being an awesome artist. He takes his time because quality takes time, and we appreciate it. Actually, the pages that he kicked over are like some like it made me look back at previous books, at the first 2 books, and say, what happened like to your art style? It's like, this is wow. I'm like, wow.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah, a lot of it also, we had to put pause on some stuff at for Braves. We got a new editor with the change up at Oni and stuff like that. So there was some slight changes and stuff in house there. So we're changing some things around, but it's not really breaking the stride, if you will, but it is changing some things. We'll have an announcement in June. I can't talk about it right now,
Okay.
but keep an eye on Braves for the announcement. Other things that are happening creatively, I don't know. Travis?
Oh man, I have a good 2020 finally.
Finally, maybe that's the best. That's a great statement.
Yeah. So I got that little horror comic coming out with John's publishing. Hopefully in 2020. He's a little behind.
Okay.
And it's a World War I horror comic.
Nice.
Oh goodness! Einstein anthology.
You have that coming out too, Greg.
I totally. Okay, yeah. We're in the same book.
Jesus
that one.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Whoops.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. So what Travis said, the Einstein anthology, and there's I wish I could. I remember there's another anthology that I did with it's got a really cute Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot story because everybody loves Bigfoot, but it's also public domain mashup of everyone's favorite treasure hunter extraordinaire, Alan Quatermain, meeting Bigfoot.
So it's like Harry and the Hendersons, huh? No, no, I'm fucking with you.
No. Gosh, Brock. No, I don't even know you, but I really want to tell you, I kind of think you're cool.
Oh man, that's terribly good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, you're
Now, Travis.
huh?
What? Sure.
Finished projects?
Yes.
Oh, yes. All right, cool. So we got the horror comic. We got Starlite coming out. Brett and I have a one-off coming out. That's a fan comic that I can't talk about because we don't know what's going on with it. And
what's a fan comic?
I wish Brett was on the call because I could say something. Like a
porno?
Like a fan. No, like a fanfic.
Okay.
But a comic.
But for men, because men don't read normal pornos. Everyone knows that.
You got a soundtrack. It's like
no.
So the comic comes with a soundtrack?
No. Actually, I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'll give you a hint of the soundtrack.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I think Greg's trying to stop me from doing the soundtrack to make sure I don't release it. So, okay, I got it. I get the hint. I get the hint. So I got that, and I optioned a film that they're hoping to shoot in the spring of 2020, which means it should see maybe a release in the winter.
Well, that'd be cool.
So, yeah,
You'll have to point out which one it is to me in a private channel when it comes around.
So that's optioned for real though. That should be all above board finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
W and everything. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Name
So
on the title card.
Nice.
well, I would tell you guys the title card, but then I'd have to call that girl, make sure she's okay with this.
Oh. I see what you're laying down. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
cool.
Yeah, but if that comes, I'll give you guys a heads up if that ends up happening. It's with a good director and a strong producer, and they kind of surprised me. They called me up and they're like, "Hey, man, we know you're working on this project. Can you send it to us? Because blah 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 is getting ready to retire. He wants to do one last film." I sent it over to him, thinking, "Okay, well that's that," because I send shit to people all the time and never hear back from them again. And then he was like, a Sunday night, the director called me up. He's like, "Hey, man, so we want to open up spring if you're down to sell this to us." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Just for you.
What was weird, though, is I haven't had a manager in a couple of years. My manager went crazy, did a bunch of coke with someone famous, ended up in rehab in Dubai or something.
Shit.
Anyways, he fell off the board for a while, but all of a sudden, they still had him as their contact for me. So they call me on Sunday and ask me if I want to option it. And, I'm like, that sounds great. And he said, "We'll call you later this week." Well, they didn't call me back. What they did is office called my old manager. So I get a call from a guy who hasn't called me since he called me from rehab in I think he was in the Netherlands. He went to Dubai with someone famous because he was also their manager. And they went on a coke bender and he went crazy and he ended up flying to some other place and he got arrested. And his parents are foreign diplomats. So they came and got him and put him in rehab in the Netherlands. And he called me from the Netherlands to try to get me to fly out there, help him escape because he was crazy. So I haven't heard from him. He called me from the Netherlands to try to break him out of rehab. And I get a call from LA. I'm like, "Who's calling me from Beverly Hills?" It's my old manager because they called him to sell.
Jesus. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, kudos on the director and his people for pushing through until they got to you. Because that sounds like some very awkward phone calls leading up to getting here and getting a hold of you.
Well, what's weird is they called me personally on Sunday, so I don't know why they called him the next week, later that week.
Go figure.
And it's not like nobody knows. Everyone in Hollywood knows because he got fired, and it was in Variety.
Snap.
We gotta talk to this guy. Damn it.
Oh man.
So I rehired him.
No.
He's He's like the golden goose, dude.
Is he better now?
Yeah, he's sober. He looks. Oh my God. When I first did work in Hollywood, they told me my agent is the guy that finds me a job, but my manager is my best friend. And so that's probably why he called me to come break him out of rehab in the Netherlands. Anyways, he's looking good though. He's changed his addiction from other things to the gym.
Okay.
So send me pictures and he looks like a bodybuilder now.
I mean, sometimes people got to focus it somewhere.
Yeah.
He went from being pudgy and round our whole lives, the whole time I've known him, to being sending me pictures of flat brim baseball caps turned backwards with no shirt on.
Sup, bro? You want a piece?
That's exactly him.
Oh, man.
I love it. That's great.
So I don't know how you guys are. How are you guys doing on time?
I'm good.
Okay, Greg.
I could check out in the front of the house here in the store and see how things are going. I think it's going all right. I could double check.
Well,
so ominous.
Why don't you double check?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm in a back room with the window is blocked off with a bunch of candy and other stuff. I can't look at it because there's Pokemon in my face. I mean, I mean, it's a child's dream, right? And I'm just nothing but a giant man child. I got candy and Jones Soda and Pokemon back here and video games galore, and just talking to a couple friends, and that's awesome. But you want to know what my time is like, and I can't see the outside of this room to see what's going on in the real world.
I mean, if you want to know the actual time, it's 1:29.
What?
So changing gears a little bit, since we've been talking about your guys' stuff and whatnot. So, now, Greg,
Yeah.
I know you are very much a lover of many things, in the media world and whatnot.
Hmm?
Travis, since you have both like inside baseball knowledge and stuff, like, does that affect your enjoyment of like movies and like other books and like comic books? Do you like ingesting like other media, or are you one of those types who's just like, no, I work on stuff and I need to like keep my like creative shit elsewhere?
That's so crazy. It has broken me. Especially the doctoring work.
Yeah.
It breaks you.
Okay.
You see every flaw. You like, people that are critics, they do a pretty good job of pulling stuff out. But
Sure.
once you actually start trying to fix stuff, it gets worse. You almost get a headache from something going wrong. It's a story. How do you get a headache from a story, right? You're like, that's just terrible.
Is it like that little like nagging feeling, or person in your head who's like saying like, if you doctored this movie, this fucking problem wouldn't be here?
It's more like, great, they did this, which means in 3 minutes this has to happen, and then it happens 3 minutes later, and you're like, ugh. It's literally a lot of screenplays, and Sid Fields, who did great things for film, also did some really bad things. And I'm going to be careful not to point out a couple of things that people do in film that are not obvious to general watchers,
Okay.
but they are so exact, and there's such a push by studios to make sure these certain things happen in film that audiences don't necessarily check it, but there are certain things you can clock your watch by.
Really?
In a film, especially if it's been meddled with. The more meddled, the more the director is a journeyman and the producer's a journeyman, the more on the clock they are.
Is it like a technical thing of the structure, or is it like a story beat thing that has to be there because they're following some sort of like formula or skeleton guide or something?
There's a thing called the Fields formula, or the Fields structure.
Okay.
It's named after Sid Fields. And when you go down to Hollywood, when you first start out, every know-it-all guy repeats that formula to you.
Okay.
And there is some truth behind it. The guy literally wrote coverage on thousands of screenplays and saw success and failures, and was able to identify what was going the same, and then wrote down exactly statistically what should happen in it. Right. And you can pick up Sid Fields' book anywhere. And I actually do recommend everyone read it, because there's nothing wrong with showing how to do it right. Unfortunately, when you're already doing something wrong and you do it wrong on those same beats, it's grindingly annoying to anyone watching your film that understands what's happening.
Okay.
The worst culprits of this are comedies.
Okay.
Comedies are very structured when they have certain things happen. And the next are mysteries. Mysteries are extremely obvious once you understand how film is put together and how the studio will expect it to be cut.
Okay.
You guys watch a lot of Marvel films, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I have a Marvel podcast too.
Right. So they're cookie cutter. Like,
yes.
People always call them out because they feel like the same film over and over.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they're using that Fields formula. And if you think about it, if you were to look at your watch and say, this is the point in the film where the story, the plot, they stop introducing characters and they introduce the plot element, right? The MacGuffin, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You'll realize exactly what time that happens in almost every film, almost exactly the same minute. Now go watch another movie and see if it happens in that film, and you'll start to see what happens.
Okay.
And it start to drive you crazy.
Okay. So, were there any films this year that, regardless of whether they were following a formula or not, that you saw that were like good? I guess from the perspective of like knowing the ins and outs of things and like, oh, this formulaic shit's gonna happen here, etc. Like, was there anything at all like enjoyable, or are you just completely broken and hopeless at this
I'm
point?
so excited.
Say that one more time. You broke up a little bit.
Sorry, my phone was cutting out. I'm so excited you asked that, and I have to be very careful because I've been wanting to tell someone about this. There was a movie this year that blew my mind.
Okay.
Okay, and it's hard, man, because I grumble through films all the time.
Yeah.
Knives Out.
Really? I've heard
Johnson.
good things about that. That's interesting. Okay. So Knives Out blew your mind. And it's like a murder mystery film, right?
Right, which is the most formulaic of all films.
Okay.
Like, Agatha Christie wrote the design,
Sure.
and we followed it into film ever since. It's the same story. It's the Murder on the Orient Express in every one of those films.
Yeah.
And so I need to point out my love-hate relationship with Ryan Johnson.
Okay.
He is also becoming more and more like, was it David Lynch?
Oh, okay.
So David Lynch, I'll see any movie that guy directs, right?
Yeah.
But I hate Alien 3. I hate it. It's a terrible film.
Fair.
Aliens for me. Right? It ruined Aliens. I don't care about Aliens anymore. I went from being a fanboy to hating it as a kid. But you know what's funny is I'll watch anything David Lynch makes. I'm still right there. I'm like, oh my God. Or David Fincher.
Yeah.
David Lynch, I have trouble watching unless I'm high. Anyways. But David Fincher, like, you know, and the thing is if you look at Alien 3, you see there's some ideas in that film. They're just not, he's not in an environment he's familiar with.
Sure.
He's doing a thing he shouldn't have done, and he's not a good fit for it. And then he has a lot of interference on top of it. But there's still some great, beautiful visuals. There's some great ideas in Aliens 3. I just can't watch it. It's terrible. If we go to Ryan Johnson preaches a lot about how he wants to circumvent the audience. He wants to like not circumvent, subvert, right?
Subvert and break expectations.
Right. Yeah, that's his quote, right? And I didn't like Brick. I know a lot of people liked Brick, but to me, it felt like the kind of movie a high schooler trying to be clever would have made with the budget.
Okay.
And I mean, it's cool, and I recognize that the director had some ideas, right? But I was like, okay, well, but the thing is you grow and you learn. Like the first things I wrote should have never ever seen the light of day, and they got published and people read them and liked them. It doesn't mean they're good. It means there were ideas that were good, so I could keep going and learning and get better. And so his next film I saw was Looper, and I liked it for the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, I couldn't finish it. Everything became obvious once I realized what was going on. Does that make sense? So I ended up not liking Looper in the long run. It's not a dreadful movie. It's just not a movie I care to watch. Now, I was excited when they announced him as a director for a Star Wars film because I thought Disney's really, really, this is one thing they're really great at. They put you with the best people. As a director, it's not so much the director, it's the team Disney gives the director, the producers, the director of photography, even the equipment. I mean, for God's sakes, these guys hunted out the same lenses from this first Star Wars movie, just so that the new Star Wars films would look just like the same. It had the same aperture and look. That's what Disney is. And I thought with Ryan Johnson having Disney pull his leash, and that's a term I use sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah, subversion, his passion, his almost, for subversion would have been held at bay. And it wasn't. I just don't think Last Jedi is a bad film. I think it's a middle Star Wars film for me. It's right there, Return of the Jedi. But I think that there's a lot of stuff going on in there that are let downs. It's a lot of being let down over and over again from the narrative's point of view. And when you let everybody down over and over again and then put whimsical music at the end with some little kid who was not really in the movie the whole time using the Force, it makes you question, what the hell did I just watch?
I mean, he subverted the expectation of a Star Wars movie being good. That's for sure. Or entertaining, actually entertaining. I found that The Last Jedi was not nearly as entertaining as Force Awakens, in my opinion.
I can rewatch Force Awakens. I've rewatched Last Jedi, but I don't tend to ever watch it again.
Okay.
It's a pretty film, and it has these really great ideas. I really love a lot of ideas. I was cool with them killing Snoke. Oh, spoilers!
Whatever.
What?
Fucking
Oh
Rise
my
of
God.
Skywalker's out next week. Everybody's fucking seen it.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
I haven't.
Kill Dumbledore.
Okay, just Dumbledore.
Yeah, just
Dumbledore. He's fair enough.
Anyways,
I can live with that.
some of it, right? But like, there's a story problem with it, which is, well, here's an example. I'm okay with the idea, if they want to present it, of Luke dying, right? You're gonna kill Luke in the movie, that's fine. What was bothersome and what made me rethink things was the attempt to subvert me, which is, you go out, you have him show up, you have him do a Luke lightsaber battle, which, by the way, looked like a fan YouTube video quality. It really does look bad.
Yeah, they've deconstructed
go,
those lightsaber battles on YouTube. There's a channel Quarter Crew that deconstructs special effects, and they deconstructed all the lightsaber battles in Last Jedi and pointing out how none of them ever actually contact each other, and they're just like doing shit because they can.
It looks bad, like just a visually bad bit of cinematography. But yeah, so we get this lightsaber battle. Okay, cool, but then it's not very good. And then Kylo stabs Luke through. Okay, and you're like, oh, this is a powerful moment. Okay, I prepared myself. I let it happen. Now you go, oh, look, he's not dead. It's just a grand illusion, right? It's just a force. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's subversion. That's okay. Okay, cool. It subverted my expectation. I prepared myself for it. We subverted me. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Luke, good play, Mr. Johnson. And then we're going to cut to Luke meditating and just randomly dying in front of the sons.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, well, wait, you subverted me by not having him die. Now you're subverting me by having him die randomly. And then instead of cutting to credits, we cut back to this little town and we have a kid come out and use the force powers instead of just ending with Luke's death. A kid we don't care about, kid has nothing to do with this narrative, right? And he uses some force powers and we get whimsical music. Okay.
Interesting breakdown.
And that's just really bad. There's 3 levels of subversion. First, we get subverted that Luke doesn't die. Then we get subverted that Luke does die. And then we get subverted that it's going to end on a somber note because Empire ended on a somber note. So he can't end on a somber note because it can't be what we expect. That's the only reason that kid's picking up the... Okay. And because of that broom, I went back and re-watched that movie like several times. It was the summer of movie pass. I went like every day, 3 times a day. And because
that's a broom to go play Quidditch.
To go kill Dumbledore. Oh my god.
Exactly. That's how it all ties in, guys. Come on.
Oh man.
I ended up tearing that movie apart because I was so conflicted because of that broom. I'm gonna tell you right now, the broom was a trigger event for me, and I had to go to a safe place and think about this broom.
Is beaten by a broom.
Okay.
Why? Benicio del Toro's character or whatever is completely like hammering me in the head. I didn't catch that the first time. So second, third time, by the third time I watched it, that guy was driving me nuts. He's useless. We already get it. Wars from all sides, right? Great. So this character's just here to annoy us, and then like there's subversion on his character. He's not even the right character. The subversion is we think they're going to get the rose person or whatever, or the person with the brochure. But the subversion is we get another character who's going to mistake it. Then the subversion is that both sides of the arms are being dealt by the people. Then there's a subversion that he's actually a bad guy. And then we have the General Phasma come back, who they present like, oh, but this time it's going to be different. No, she's dead too. So we subvert that expectation. There was no reason to bring her back, and then we have a giant, just the legs of an AT-AT walking around with some people on top of it through fire, which is almost as corny as the scene with C-3PO's head going through a factory. It's just terrible.
Well, for my own statement on The Last Jedi, I feel the film it's two films. It's Rian Johnson trying to continue The Force Awakens in that style with his Rian Johnson flair, but then like the whole Casino Planet subplot with Finn and Rose, and I liked Finn in Force Awakens, is very prequel trilogy George Lucas. Like,
God, it is.
To a T. Now, I feel that movie would be better off without that whole subplot, probably. But I do understand, like, your breakdown of, like, subversion good, but now we're going to throw some extra subversions and getting away from audience expectations just because we can to make sure we have enough subversions, I guess, or whatever Rian Johnson was thinking.
Well, yeah, that's basically the point. You get so subversive, and then you get mad at an audience for not getting what they want, and you can't do that. I've worked on enough IPs now to know the one mistake that you don't want to do is alienate your audience and then yell at your audience for alienating it. Like if you purposely want to subvert your audience and then you get mad at them because they reject it, that's not on them. That's a mistake you make as a creator. Anyways, I'm gonna go back. If that's okay. Have I killed us all? Are we all falling asleep?
No.
I mean, I'm interested.
It's a pretty interesting breakdown. I liked it.
I feel sorry for Greg, who's probably like gonna be like, "What are you talking about? I loved it. I loved it."
You probably like the holiday special too from '77.
I do.
Say again, Greg. Oh, did we lose Greg?
I don't know. Did we?
Is Travis still there?
Yeah, actually, Ryan John blocking his signal now, and Disney's.
See, our live day display. We have a live day display in the app, and you haven't even.
Can you
Star Wars here?
Can you hear us? Okay, still, Travis.
And I'm sad.
Okay, cool. We got parts of that. There was a display in something. You're sad. And you're upset, and Rian Johnson and Disney are blocking our signal now.
Oh my gosh! It's happening. It's happened. Oh Lord! No, I was just saying, like, I mean, then there.
Now he's fucking with us.
Now he's being a clown.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. No, I said, you guys like literally live down the street and haven't even come into the shop to say hello in person to see my Life Day display that my wife toiled and worked so hard on to make. She had to fill this Ewok village for the holidays with Ewoks, and Ewoks are freaking expensive. You just can't go down the street and buy an Ewok. It's illegal for one, and for two, you have to. You just can't find them anywhere. So she was hand casting in resin and clay or whatever this crafty lady that I married does, and making these Ewoks and baking them in the oven. Oh my gosh, it sounds so wrong. She was baking Ewoks in the oven, and they're so delicious. Their meat is so tender. It just falls right off the bone. It's like going to the caveman kitchen and getting the turkey.
Oh, okay. Caveman kitchen, represent.
Sponsor the podcast.
Oh, I wish.
Jesus, I wish.
Wouldn't that be great? I was so bummed because like we usually have like during at my day job, which I can't talk about. They usually give us like something like that for the holidays, but you know we're doing some like I don't know, not so hot, so they didn't like give us any awesome caveman kitchen because like our boss didn't go and buy it. I was really sad. So like you know, I drove by and I was like, oh, I really want the caveman kitchen, but then I looked in my wallet and was like, I can't afford it. Sad. So, anyways, I cooked some Ewoks in the oven with my wife, and we put them on display. Cooked Ewoks, and the two of you haven't even come down to see them. But we got singing Wookiees, we got Yoda with presents, we got a Emperor, and he's looking down on this whole entire thing from the Death Star of Bethlehem, and yeah, so Disney's coming for us now. And they're gonna be like, give us back what you owe us, and we're gonna say we don't owe you nothing. We made this of our own volition. You did nothing.
We got our own free range Ewok meat. Okay,
that's right, free range Ewok meat. It would have been really weird. You know, this is like, I mean, not to jump ships, but I've had this conversation in the shop a lot because we do Pokemon stuff, and like, you know, Pokemon. If there's Pokemon people out there, is Pokemon Go Day out on the on
the whole weekend.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of Pokemon players, and one of the things, like if you read some of the old mangas and stuff like that, like there's like, you know, people eat Pokemon. So it makes me wonder, what did the Pokemon taste like, and which Pokemon would be the tastiest? I don't know.
Isn't there a new one that pours tea out of itself and you drink the liquid that comes out of itself?
Well, I mean, there's tons of them. There's, Miltank, the cow, literally shoots some of its milk.
That's true.
I mean,
some of these are normal. Yeah, Farfetch'd. He carries around his own like leek, right? So,
yeah.
I mean,
he's ready
to be cooked.
Yeah, he carries around his own seasoning. That's so awesome.
But like,
now we know Boone's mom.
What Jigglypuff tastes like?
I imagine Jigglypuff tastes like cotton candy
or marshmallow.
I should hope. What if it was like meat marshmallow?
Meaty and bony.
Oh man, that would be weird.
Gelatinous.
Like it just tastes like collagen.
It's just like It's all jiggly and soft because it's just a bunch of Jello inside. You cut it open, it's just like blah, blah,
just
like the
tasteless
blob.
Jello.
Like, oh my god! I'm sorry, I've derailed this conversation. Sound like Star Trek. I mean Star Wars.
Well, I was just thinking that if you cut Jigglypuff open, like it would just be like fat cells, like a tauntaun.
Oh yeah! Oh, yeah. Back to the Star Wars people. Look at that.
Oh my gosh! Just Ash Ketchum busting out the lightsaber, like he's got little Jigglypuffs for his feet as he's going across the Arctic. That's fucked.
He's got to catch them all, and that's the only way to do it. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a few. As we saw the Detective Pikachu movie, there are tons of them.
He turns Pikachu into a hat, like a Davy Crockett raccoon hat with the stripes.
You could. It would be terrible, but you could. Terribly cool. Tragically hip.
Well, I mean, do you want to plug your shop so that people know to come down and bother you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you're in the Washington area,
State.
Because apparently, like, we've had people come from north, south, east, and west. Downtown Kent, Washington, historic Kent, Washington, the Retro Emporium, where you can get your childhood back. That's right. If it was sold, thrown away, lost, missing, or whatnot, your childhood most likely has ended up here in our store, the Retro Emporium, downtown historic Kent.
You can Google it now.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
You can watch this on King 5. We were on King 5 a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I saw that. You tweeted that out. That was cool.
It was kind of like really weird because I just popped into the store to check on Anne, and they were here, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you want to do an interview?" And she's like, "I don't do cameras. I don't do interviews." She's like very camera shy. Right? Like she's trying to get better. she was like, and just walked away. I was like, oh. She did the Irish goodbye and just like walked backwards to the store.
Are you looking at
I was
pictures
like-
of his store right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We have a mini arcade. We have vending machines. We have all sorts of cool things, toys galore, and much, much more. Candy, soda.
Well,
It's like, yeah.
are you gonna be at your wife's retro emporium next weekend as well?
Highly likely.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll make sure that that next weekend, me and my lady come on down and say hey and take a look around your retro emporium down there.
Come on down.
How about that?
Say hey.
I can't say the same for Brock because nobody makes this fucking asshole do anything.
Nope. I mean, I'll definitely come down though because it's cool shit that I like.
You've got a kid. You can
And?
take the kid there and be like, look at all the dead Ewoks.
I don't give a shit about that. I'm going for me.
Yeah, go for you.
I'll bring him. He'll just be along for the ride.
Be like, you wait in the car.
And sometimes it's funny because sometimes you might even see Travis because Travis is here sometimes
Oh, no.
hanging out, fixing stuff.
I mean,
Because
fair
things
enough.
get broken and Travis fixes things, not just scripts, but sometimes electronics.
Yeah.
It was funny
Well,
because
maybe you should
one
fix your
time
computer you're having such a problem with.
oh, ouch. It was like one time, like Travis was like, he brought in a bunch of, was it Colecos? And he was like back here, like had them all torn up and he was like fixing them. This dude like poked his head in the back. What are you guys doing?
That's insane.
It was like, we're fixing dead history.
That's awesome, actually. Gosh, it's crazy.
That's what we do in the back room of the Retro Emporium. Who knows what goes on back here? I have video of Travis fixing all sorts of stuff because the cameras record everything.
Just like the microphones.
Oh my
Unless one of them
gosh.
shits the bed right before the show. Terrible.
Just like that.
So since there was only one movie that Travis enjoyed this year, what about you, Craig?
What did I enjoy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well. Oh man. Movie, like, are we talking movies that came out in the theater?
Yeah,
Or
like movies that came
like,
out this year in general. I
in
mean,
gen-
theater seems too short of a scope in this day and age since everything's on
true.
Amazon or Netflix or Hulu or
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, or we got Apple TV Plus now and all this shit.
Yeah, all these options and choices and stuff. I'm trying to think what I saw. Like, honestly, like, this year has been a whirlwind. I'm not gonna lie. Between, if anybody told my wife Ann and I that opening a shop was gonna like eat up our time, like having a child, Brock.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Difference is
like,
yours was planned.
Yep.
ours was planned. Yeah, like, she's like, hey, I want to open a store, and I was like, okay, that sounds cool. But it was definitely like it's eaten a lot of time. Like a lot of every other thing that we do is kind of shop related. And then also, like, coming back from when I went to San Diego with Travis, we went to Comic-Con this year. We met up down there, and he got the, hey, I've returned my plane ticket and riding the train to LA to pick up my grandma because she has decided to come back to Washington with me story.
Oh,
Because it was one of those things where she asked if I was coming to visit her, and I said, I can stop. I can change my trip and come and visit you. And then she was like, can you drive me home? And I was like, oh, you want to live with us again? Let me call my wife.
Oh, man.
So we changed a lot of stuff over like a quick period of time after opening the store, and then and bringing my grandma back to live with us. It was a big change. So that kind of like changed up a little bit of stuff. So us getting free time, it's been a little. So new movies or any movies that have come out this year that I've seen.
Yes, just that you enjoyed and didn't break your spirit in a soul crushing fashion.
Jeez, I think like The Detective Pikachu. I saw that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And that's all that I can remember that I saw. I hate to say it.
Okay,
I
fair enough.
know, and I know there's other stuff that I saw. If there was other things that I saw, like on other, oh man, what are movies that came out? Guys, throw them at me, and then maybe I throw titles.
Endgame, Avengers Endgame came out.
There's like 4
Didn't
different.
see it. Don't even know what that is.
4 different Marvel movies. Let's see.
Don't know what they are.
There
Didn't watch
was
2-minute movies.
What?
2 saw 2-minute movies.
2-minute
Two
movies.
2-minute movies? What's that? I don't know.
What? Yeah, what is that? Explain.
Greg and I went to the Sith.
Oh,
48
yeah.
hours. That's what it was.
48-hour movies. Yeah, those actually
2-minute movies and 48
2-minute
hours.
movies. They're all nothing but 2-minute movies. You know, honestly, okay, I will say this. So yeah, the 48-hour horror film fest.
Oh, I see.
Travis and I went and saw that. A friend of ours, a longtime friend of mine, new friend of Travis's, had a movie that was in the film contest. And honestly, like all the movies, they were done in 48 hours, so not everything's going to be perfect. Not everything's going to come off great. But I will tell you this: you want to know what doesn't crush my soul? Is people going out there, balls out, doing what they want to do, trying to make something that they love. They love horror movies. They love the film craft. They love storytelling in a short amount of time or whatever it is, and just out there and making. I mean, we could sit there and discuss all the different nuances. Movies and or listen to 2 people behind us that had films in the show fight about taking pictures during the show with their phones and totally ruining the whole entire evening for everyone else.
Oh my gosh. Did you do that, Greg?
Making us, yes, it was totally me. It was me. No, but making Travis and I totally look back and go, man, your movies now are not that great. But that's besides the point.
Oh man.
The point being is that just the fact that people going out there and doing their thing, that's what's awesome. So, I mean, you know, like I the takeaway for going out that night and seeing some awesome, you know, 48-hour films, it just makes you go, okay, these people went out, they had 48 hours, they made a movie, they edited a movie, they put it all together, they threw it out there up on the screen for everyone to see and, you know, to be excited about and or not be excited about, however, you know, like it came across. But they just, you know, they put their soul out there, man, and they did it. And that was pretty cool. But yeah, Detective Pikachu, totally great. Totally.
Well, that's fantastic.
I mean, no, other stuff I can't think of. Like, what? I mean, I didn't watch any of the big. Like, I know there was like a ton of Marvel movies. Spider-Man stuff came out and stuff like that. I'll lose my nerd cred. I didn't watch any of them. And yeah, trying to think what else. I know there was probably a Fast and Furious movie that came out that I didn't see.
I mean,
Actually, surprisingly, I don't
think so. I mean, I personally don't partake in those films personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think there was one of those this year. I think there's one next year.
Next year?
Yeah.
Wait, you don't partake in Fast and Furious movies?
I did.
I don't either.
Is it a drug? Because that's what my friends say when they do drugs. They say,
I don't take
drugs.
I feel like it is.
Ecstasy.
Like I feel
that.
Like it's like the crack rock of like that genre of movie. For some reason, like it should have died out after the second one, or maybe even Tokyo Drift. But it didn't.
Fucking shit.
I know it should have. Like
okay. Tokyo Drift has like it's got a place in my heart, but it is also frustrating. I was gonna say because I love Initial D, the manga and the anime, and
I feel you.
It is like watching a really like someone's love letter to
an initial D film.
But there's already a live action Initial D movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did you go extra, Justin Lin? Why? why don't you just make another Initial D movie, like the second Initial D movie? Why'd you have to make Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift? Not that I don't like it. I watch it. Like, if it's on TV, I'll watch it. I own it. I'm that guy because I love Initial D and I know what he's trying to do. I get it because he loves it too. But damn, why couldn't you just make an Initial D movie for us, man? Why? I'm throwing it out there. If you want to do it, I'll write it. You produce it, direct it, and all that stuff. I mean, we'll make it happen if you want to. I'm just saying, put it out there. I put stuff out there.
So
if you say it, it'll happen, right, guys?
Tokyo Drift, you guys.
Huh?
I actually know a little bit about Tokyo Drift as a film.
No, really?
Back scene. If you guys want me to tell you real quick, I'll try to be fast.
Sure.
And
So-
Furious?
First Fast and the
Jesus,
Furious.
Greg.
You opened up the Travis door. The first Tokyo Drift, the first Fast and the Furious movie, it's supposed to be about people with middle class people or lower middle class people who have put everything they have in these cars and who turn to crime in order to achieve this high of driving fast and racing. So the first movie achieves that. The second movie is a joke. The third movie, they were like, the second movie is a joke. We need to get back to our roots. And the idea at that time was to keep that element of middle class, lower middle class, but make it an anthology. And they were going to start jumping international to different countries.
Yeah.
And that was the idea of the third film. And that was going to spark this idea that, the tie-in is, what's his name was going to be Vin Diesel's character was the tie-in character for all of them. But we would go to Brazil next and we would see what happened in Brazil with this criminal underground ring down there. But they were never, and it's always supposed to be the criminal slightly underground ring getting itself a little bit in over their head to get the money they need to get better cars. And that's it. That's where it's supposed to end. There's not supposed to be spies and submarines and missiles.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And Superman.
And Tokyo Drift was the last time it really, I guess technically was it Fast 4 where what's her name or Fast 5 comes back and they're running drugs out of Mexico.
Yeah, it's like a telenovela.
I watched the first two and Tokyo Drift just because of the time period, but then after that I was like, I have no desire to watch this garbage anymore. But to each his own. I mean, if Travis has a secret love of intimate knowledge of the Fast films, that's you do you.
Well, I got sponsored for Tokyo Drift. So we were hanging around with the cast for a little bit. But this is a weird thing from my history. I used to own a big giant car show for imports.
Huh? Wow. Okay.
Travis is a varied life.
I mean,
that's why he lives in a nightclub.
A fraction of the stories that he has told me are being communicated on this podcast. I will tell you that right now. But that's interesting.
But yeah, Tokyo Drift came out. They were partial sponsors.
Yeah.
We used to compete with Hot Import Nights.
Okay.
And we were the second largest at the time, and we were out at Silverwood Theme Park.
Okay.
And called Accelerator, and they gave us a bunch of sponsorships and try to get us to get our guys' cars out there, a bunch of our competitors' cars, and of course our own show car. So we ended up getting all this weird insight from random people that I don't remember these guys' names. You know what I'm saying? They're all people that work for the marketing company that supposedly had inside knowledge and stuff. And they were the ones telling us that Tokyo Drift was all about getting back to the roots of the idea of the first Fast and the after the second year. Now, just remember that they thought at that time the second Fast and the Furious was off the rails. They hadn't introduced missiles and submarines yet.
Oh my
or
God.
The Rock.
Yeah. That is, looking back, I can, I see that vision that they had very clearly, but now, and then you come back today and it's just oh my God, that was just such a terrible idea.
I heard somebody say recently to me that the Fast and Furious films are just car superhero films.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
They are.
It's
Yeah.
Oh man, that was an interesting rabbit hole that we found.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it happens sometimes. It happens when you talk to Travis and Greg.
Yeah, you go down the Travis store, and then
Yeah.
you're talking about his car sponsorships and
That's-
whatnots
Yeah.
from his island.
Yeah.
That's a weird time of life.
Oh man, what like we fell so far down that hole. I don't even fucking remember what the fuck I was talking about.
You
How
were,
did we
you were
get
throwing
here?
out questions. Well, we were talking about like what movies did I like
Oh,
during
Jesus.
the year, or not
And Greg was
but like in the year, and I just like I asked if there's a Fast and
Oh
Furious movie.
yeah, that's right. Well, that mistake is on you.
You know, I was thinking, I think like Summer '84 came out this year, and that was another movie I watched. I did watch that one. I watched that for the podcast that I do, Nurse from the Crypt, and that was a really good. That was a solid, like, nice little piece of nostalgia. If you like slasher flicks from the '80s, with a little bit of like that Stranger Things kind of feel, but not really, more in the sense of like kids they're trying to figure out being a little detective-y, little
Isn't it funny
Scooby-Doo.
how today's nomenclature has changed to like everything is now it's like a Stranger Things kind of feel, when like really like it's
Just 80s
Scooby-Doo.
vibe.
it's just 80s and like I mean if you want to dive into a movie, I mean it's more Stand By Me than most other things.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, but it's like to describe that as a descriptor in 2019, it's like it's got a Stranger Things vibe, like it's very common now. It's crazy.
It's very true. Very true.
I feel like probably saying that, I feel like Travis is already rolling over. He's like digging his grave right now, and he's rolling over a little bit.
Well, I would say the reason why like the Summer '84 has that Stranger Things vibe is that Stranger Things is like you took 13 different things that touch points, movies and other things like that, you put it in a Cuisinart, hit chop, mix, blend, smooth, and then poured it into a glass and said, "Here you go. It's a nice drink. We like it. We all drank it. Most people, and it's been fantastic." Summer of '84 did that on the horror side of things. It took a bunch of different things that fit those genres from the summer slasher and kid kind of like trying to battle out the baddie, and did that, and they did it quite well. So just taking that formula, if you will, the graveyard mix in the blender, and served it up nicely in a milk carton with a missing kid on it.
Is that out on is that purchasable at the moment?
Yeah, you can purchase it. You can get it on video on demand or like Hulu or Netflix or whatever. I think more like Hulu or something like that.
Okay.
The guys the people that put it together, if you've seen Turbo Kid, it's the same people.
Turbo Kid is awesome.
Yeah, Turbo Kid is sweet. So when I heard that the same production group was putting that together, putting Summer '84 together, I was like, oh, sweet, awesome, let's jump on that. So, and Saul and I were like, yeah, let's do this. And he was like, this is awesome. Because he shoots over the trailer for it, and he's like, have you seen this? And we just went nuts. So anyways, sorry. But that was a movie that, like, when after watching it and knowing again it was like a small budget, not really large in the respect of things. They did it in a form and a fashion that, hey, we just want to make a movie. Let's do this. And they put it together. They grabbed up as much nostalgia that they could within rights and reasons and stuff like that, and put together a really nice piece of material, and it hit all the notes. All the people that played in the movie, really good actors and actresses, and just it definitely was one of those things that left me wanting more. So if they make a second one, please, I'm knocking on wood, please make a second Summer of '85 or '86 or something like that. I don't know, because it's
fall of '86.
Something, I don't know. It just needs a sequel because it's that damn good.
Fair enough.
Did you see this?
Huh? I saw it like video on demand, so like rented it off of like Hulu, I think. It was like $3 or something.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna watch this later.
I'm looking at a list right now. I almost wish they sponsored my fucking podcast, but there's this app called Just Watch, and it's fucking awesome because you just type in whatever the fuck you're trying to watch, and it gives you the list of where it's streaming for free, where you can subscribe to it, where you can rent it, and where you can buy it. And it is on some really weird shit streaming right now. It's on like Hoopla, Canopy, and Slasher. If you want to subscribe or you've got that stream, renting, it's basically everywhere for $2, and it's available in most places for $5 if you want to just buy it. Yeah,
I think I just bought it because like I was like it's worth it. But I'll tell you this too, the team that wrote it, super nice dudes. Like they did not have to take like the time to talk to us, and they totally like we got into a nice little like couple-day chat with Saul and the two of those dudes, and just chatted it up for a while. We're gonna do a show and put an episode out and stuff like that, talking about the show or the movie. But like totally just just in and out of chat for a couple days, just talking about everything and anything. So it's kind of nice. It's just getting a good feel for what what kind of folks they are, which is cool.
That's cool. That's cool. So I know Greg. If he has time, I know Greg plays video games. Where do you stand on video games, Travis?
Dun dun dun. I literally just play video games pretty much all day when I'm not writing. That's it. I write and I play video games.
Okay.
A lot.
What do you play, Travis? Is this the deep rabbit hole? Because I will go down it.
It's all those hentai games.
Jeez.
How did you know?
Sims forever. So I used to have an arcade, and so I used to have a collection of arcade games.
Awesome.
Sold those off recently. And then I got 3 ColecoVisions, one with an Atari adapter, and I got every game made for ColecoVision.
That's
and I got
awesome.
A couple of NESs, a Famicom, top loaders, HDMI, mods on them, and
adapters, or do you have a Retron?
No, I have real ones.
Okay.
And then TurboGrafx 16 with an adapter called a black box, and then a Sega Genesis Gen 1, Sega Genesis Gen 2, Sega CDX, Sega Genesis CD Gen 1, Sega Genesis CD Gen 2, and I just got a Sega Genesis Mini yesterday.
I hear they're great.
And then another Super Famicom, a Famicom, a Super Nintendo that I just got from Greg because I actually burnt up my old one, so I just got one from Greg. You can pretty much list everything off. And right now, what am I playing? Stardew Valley. I've been playing Stardew Valley.
Oh man. So, but what are you playing Stardew Valley on?
I've been playing on the Switch. I just picked up a Switch. That's my, I put it off the whole time. I was excited. I was like following it when it was like the NX or whatever, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's coming out." All these people were like combing through all the patents and stuff, trying to figure out what they were making and stuff. I was super excited because I was like, I hate load times.
Sure.
I didn't buy the Sony PlayStation because it sucked for load times. I had an N64, and let me tell you, I don't regret that decision because you know what? I don't really go back to my PlayStation games, but I still go N64 games.
I was in the same boat as you. I was like, I will never buy a disc-driven game because I hate load times. And then it was like, yeah, we're not making cartridges anymore. I was like, damn it.
So I put off the Switch. I got a Switch. I put Stardew Valley on it. I bought it actually to play Pokemon Shield and Sword. And then I jammed through that, and I'm old. I've been playing JRPGs forever.
Sure.
And I automatically go and grind, even if the game's not designed for grinding.
Sure.
So I screwed up and leveled all my Pokemon and I got all the Pokemon and leveled them all to 100 before I decided to go play through the story.
Jesus. Okay.
One hit dead. I will challenge you. One hit dead. Oh, you're the gym master. Oh crap! I screwed that up. 50 hours of play, 1 hour of story.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
I did the same thing on Sun and Moon.
That's intense.
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I've been playing, and then once in a while I'll go back and I'll like. I find myself going back and looking at older JRPGs after they get rebuilt, like
Sure.
they did that with Phantasy Star, the first one for the Sega Master System.
Yep.
They fixed the grinding, add some quality of life, and now it's not so hard to get through like it was. So I've been kind of tinkering through that on the Switch
Nice.
because the story is really good, and I love the Phantasy Star line. Probably buy Phantasy Star Online when they finally release it in the US this year.
Yeah, online too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I love
only 7 years behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, we got
what's
it
up with
last.
that. Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, I play video games. The only games that what I don't play first-person shooters.
Okay.
It's not a knock against them. They're point-and-click games, man.
Okay.
Who moves their mouth the fastest and clicks? That's like you can put all the 3D excitement you want on them, but they're point-and-click games, and I don't feel like, other than like Portal, which finally made it feel like a game. But before Portal, it just felt like Quake and Doom. I mean, I was interested when they first came out because they were different. We had never seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But once I beaten all the Quake games and Unreal, and played for hours, after that, like by the time the Call of Duty stuff started, Medal of Honor and all those things, I was like, these are just the same point and click game over and over again. So I've kind of gone back to platformers and RPGs.
Travis, in Fortnite,
you get to have your mic cut out, apparently, Greg.
You see a Fortnite you can dance?
I think he's trying to talk, and it's not happening. I'm seeing his icon on my Skype flashing. You're cutting in and out, Greg. Cutting in and out real bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I was just going to say,
yeah,
if he was going to say Fortnite you can dance, go ahead.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Did I die?
You did. It sounds like you're back to life, though.
I'm back to life. Back to life. Okay. Well, I was. The joke is over. The time is long.
I mean, that's.
Oh, man, I wanted to make a City Heroes comment though.
I said. Well, maybe you still can, Travis. Maybe you still.
All right, say
can.
your joke. We'll pretend like it's new. Go for it.
But dude, in Fortnite, you can build things and dance, not just shoot people.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It totally didn't land.
It was a bad. Yeah. See, the time was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great like 5 minutes ago. Wah, wah. Could you edit this out? Oh God, you're not gonna edit out. I'm gonna sound like an idiot, like normal.
Damn.
It's gonna be like one of my. It's gonna be like one of my TikTok videos.
Oh God.
I've actually seen his TikTok videos.
You actually have a TikTok video?
Yeah, he actually has TikTok videos.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're.
Don't judge. They're good.
They're
great.
very zoomy. No, I don't judge.
Zoomy. What does zoomy mean?
Well, you know how like you'll like do the thing and then there'll be like the colors and it zooms in and out, like an '80s pop commercial.
Yeah.
Your TikTok videos are like that.
Yeah.
Because
that's why it gets like no likes. I'm trying to fix the algorithm.
Hack the system.
Hack the system.
Yeah.
So, what are you playing right now, Greg?
I'm playing Fortnite because I like to build stuff and dance.
Okay.
No. Well, yeah, but I like also Tetris. But I don't really play a lot of stuff just because I've been testing a lot of stuff here at the shop. So that's generally like so I'm just testing a lot of things. My the dude next door is trying to get me to like check out some game on the PlayStation. I was like, I don't have time to play that, but it looks really cool. Some samurai game. I wish I remembered the title of it. It looked really neat and pretty and beautiful. But I'm really thinking like it'd be fun to go and play. Yeah, that. I don't know what that was. I don't know, but it sounded cool.
I was just trying to be that guy.
Okay. Cool.
Wait.
Oh, cool. Okay. Are you just trying to be me?
Yeah.
Trying to be me. I was gonna play World Class Track Meet on the NES.
Okay.
And yeah, that'd be fun. Get me tired out real good. I can take a nap.
I mean, it sounds like you're real tired out now.
No.
He says that saying as tired as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
No. Yeah. No. I don't know. I haven't really, like I said, I haven't really played this. It's kind of sad because I haven't really played very much, and it's like I also, since my grandma moved in, my game room has been taken over by boxes. Like I had to move everything out of the quote unquote box room. And move all that stuff into the game room. So now the video game room has turned into the storage of like crap room, which now I'm like, oh, I'd really like to play video games, but now I cannot. And I really want to get in there and play video games, but now I have to sort all these boxes of crap. And it's making me really think that I don't need all this crap. So I'm going to probably get rid of a bunch of stuff.
I mean,
Only thing that brings your life.
Did you say clear up my life? What?
Joy.
Oh, yeah. If it doesn't, yeah.
Well,
right?
I mean, there you go. Yeah, if it doesn't bring you joy, clear it out.
Yeah. True.
Fair enough. But you know, like I understand, like so the Retro Emporium, like, is that jointly your business with your wife, or are you just predominantly helping her make her dreams come true because you're a good husband?
The latter. Because I'm a good. No, I mean, as much as it's one of those things where it's like it is our thing, but it is like, I mean, it's really her thing, because like sure. I in the sense of like, I couldn't do this, dude. I am a big screw up. I mean, like, I could dream this, but I couldn't make this happen. She makes it happen. Like, sure. I mean, I just show up on nights and weekends, and like right now I'm not any help at all because I'm back here talking to you, three guys. But I poke my head out occasionally, and people are like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" But I mean, I move the stuff around. I'm here and to do the things that need to be done and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, I mean, it's 100% like her, like, coming up with the ideas of how to make things happen and stuff like that. So, you know, It's kind of like when people always like see us at toy shows and stuff. Like prior to opening the shop, we would go to toy shows, and people would come up and she would be standing in there next to me, and like she'd be organizing the stuff or like counting whatever, or you know, and people would look at me and like, oh, hey, how much is this, or what's this, or you know, da da da, and I'm like, I don't know, dude, why not? And I'm like, it's not mine. It's hers. Talk to her. Oh,
Greg, you do wear a uniform and look like her employee when you're there. I mean,
well, yeah, no, it's true. I'm wearing one right now.
It's like going in
wearing matching t-shirts.
Shirt on, you know. I don't know here. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, no, it's true.
Give you a terrible Yelp
I will
review.
wear. No, I mean, I wear an outfit to so people know that I like, I'm supposed to be here or like help her out or whatever. But at the same point, it's like when people are like, "Oh, hey, will you buy this for me?" I'm like, I can't make that decision. I don't know how much money she can put out on something. I can't like give you store credit on that, sure. You know. But when it comes down to like, you know, like, or like, you know, at shows and stuff, it's like, I don't know, like if I can't tell you if we can give you a better deal on that, because like, I don't know what she's into it for. If she paid X amount for this thing.
I'm sorry. I'm over here laughing because the more you describe your guys' relationship with the store, all I can picture is Fast Times at Richmond High, and like he's working at like that fast food place or whatever, and your wife, the boss, right? And you're literally the employee in a uniform that says, "Hey, I'm here to help you." And people are like, "So how much is the cheeseburger?" And you're like, "I don't know. Why would I know that?"
Exactly, right? Just look at the sign. It tells you right there. No, seriously, that's the thing. There, like most of the stuff has price. We price tag stuff, and like, how much is this?
It's like, bro, look at the price tag.
Why is it? I mean, like, I don't know. But that thing is like, there's the shoppers that are that, and then there's the shoppers that are like super awesome, which we have 95% of those shoppers, and which I'm happy, which makes me happy. I think a lot of times the folks that just like roll in that don't know they're overwhelmed by everything. They don't know what to expect when they come in. So, and I probably am that like unhelpful, like, I don't know.
So what you're saying, there's shoppers that are awesome who walk right past you, is what you're saying.
Well, no. We have shoppers that come in that like they like check everything out. They know like what they're looking for, or they're just like they're experiencing all the stuff, and they're not like, hey, wow, here is like, I don't know. It's the haggler. It's the haggler, man. Which is like 5% of our shoppers, which isn't bad. I mean, I get it.
That's not a bad percentage.
It's not bad. It could be worse, but
Well, but either way, I can understand the stress of, wanting to help out your wife, and you guys have a storefront. I'm sure that costs probably too much fucking money to run a storefront. Having gone through a bunch of shit myself this summer with, I'm still in the process of purchasing my father's automatic door business, and currently fighting with the IRS on that one at the moment. So shout out to those wonderful folks on the phone that don't do anything. But like, I can understand that like there's a tremendous amount of effort involved whenever you're doing something that can be presented to another, and not to like diminish, like obviously y'all's are writers and whatnot and have produced, written products and stuff across the board. But at the same time, like having a storefront is like its whole other thing.
It's the kind of cool part about it though is it's like having a weird clubhouse where all your friends can come and hang out and do stuff at. So we've collected a lot of folks over the last 12 years of doing shows and conventions and stuff, and be it like toy people or artists or writers or other creative types or other collectors, and between all those groups, Ann and I are able to like, oh hey, it's Art Walk Day. We need an artist to come in, and it's just a matter of like reaching out and finding like, can someone so come here? Or oh hey, we're doing a creators club meeting. Do we have some people that want to come hang out? And it's like Travis is like, hey, I'll come hang out, and he's able to come and talk to new creators that have ideas and questions and want to be able to have somebody to talk to have a sounding board or whatever, and have feedback. And that's great, because that's an awesome resource. Or having like we run out of stock or something like that, and having the ability to go and talk to some of our other people that do toys or video games or other collectibles, and the just the ability to just say, hey, so and so, can we come over and take a look at your shop, back room, house, basement, garage, and give you monies or stuff for these things, and make some trades and deals, and fill our shelves, because we are lacking in this and this, or somebody's looking for this and that. And it's been that's like super cool, because you never think like you would make a web of people, like a spider.
Yeah,
Wait, that doesn't sound. Oh my god, that sounds so bad.
I feel like
Or
I
is it
feel like
sound
you're trying to wrap
awesome?
that around to Travis to make a web joke.
I don't know. Oh my god, that wasn't trying to intentionally, but unintentionally it does work because he is Webb and he is wrapped in it because he comes and he's like, I mean, honestly, like if it wasn't for friends like Travis that have like a big toolbox of random experience, huh? What was it?
Sorry.
What
What'd you
just
say?
happened?
I don't know.
I mean, you were calling Travis a giant toolbox, so
Yes, he's a giant toolbox. Travis, the giant toolbox comes over to the store. It's his own YouTube channel. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a tool bag.
yeah,
The tool bag.
just
And I
a
eat cat
no.
food.
big tool shed that you can just perfect.
Well, no, but I mean, like having friends like Travis that like, oh hey, this video game machine like went down. We need to find somebody to fix it, and he's like, I'll fix it. You can fix it. Sure, I can fix it. I'll get the parts. And or oh hey, we got some, like, we need some video game consoles and stuff like that, and we need to clean them and test them and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, I know some people that we can get these through, and it's like, that kind of thing. It's like, folks like that. That's honestly what makes a small business like this successful during its first year, is having the resources through our friends that really have come through in all the random times when it's like, oh my gosh, this one thing that we spent like hundreds of dollars on has died. How do we fix it? I can fix it. Thank you, Travis. Just, that kind of thing. So I don't know. That's me just like gushing about the awesomeness of the random community that we found, and also like this weird block that we're on. We've got a cool bookstore, another video game store, and eateries and other stuff that are all down here that people may or may not know about. But once they find us, we all kind of like help each other out and push people in the different directions and stuff. So I mean, most of our morning is spent like running around checking in on each other. So that's kind of neat, because even though you might think that people are like, oh, this business has moved in and they're taking money out of my wallet share, we're giving it right back because we all throw our business back and forth, and we're also buying stuff because from your shop, because we might not have it in our shop, vice versa. We're sending people down to your shop because we know that we don't have it in our shop. That makes sense. And so it's one of those things where we want to make sure that our small but awesome ecosystem of small businesses stays alive, because we want to stay here as long as they want to stay here, and we want our awesome little community to thrive. It's a cool, nerdy little spot.
That sounds
Anyways.
amazing. And I'm definitely going to have to make good on this. I feel like it's a perpetual promise at this point of coming down and seeing the retro
Tuesdays,
Emporium.
man.
Dude, you should come out on Tuesdays. Tuesdays is our creators club day. Tuesdays 5 to close.
When
so
do
that's
you guys
a day
close?
that 7, but it's like one of those things where Anne's like, if things are jamming and stuff like that, she's walked out and she's like, just close the store. But like things are, that's usually like a good night for creative folk to come down and hang out. It's not just writers or whatnot. We have a dude that does a podcast. We have a dude that does Legos. He makes Legos. We have a lady that wants to make a robot. We have a lady that's drawing and writing her own comic book. We have a young author who is doing fan fiction. We have a guy who wants to put together a movie studio. And, just like all these things, just a bunch of different stuff that's all coming together, and, people working on their own projects and stuff. So it's, and asking questions, and, everyone just kind of throwing out input. We're not all working on things together necessarily, but we're all sharing the same space. It's kind of like I don't know, Travis, what would you call it? Kind of like an incubator of ideas?
Yeah, like a little think tank.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And we have
It's a
candy.
petri dish.
Petri dish of viruses.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The largest
That might be
contagion win.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Tim has never ever mentioned this to me.
Oh,
Because
fuck
he's a
off.
terrible
Dude,
person.
I can't believe it. He's holding this like
Fuck
idea, this whole entire thing as his own. Like he's just like gonna go do it himself.
No.
and, like,
No.
he's like,
Let's
by the way,
back up the fucking Wayback Machine here with this fucking prick here. I was just like, oh hey, like I'm gonna go to my friend's fucking Comic-Con at RenCon. Did you want to come with me? Like Jessica was gonna go, but like her fucking Shark Week fucking happened this morning, so she feels like shit. And then you were just like, I don't know, man. Going and talking to some fucking stupid writer sounds like a terrible waste of my time. And then I was like,
I did
okay.
say that. I was like, that sounds like stupid bullshit.
oh, hold on,
It's-
Travis. Did we meet Brock? Did we meet this guy already?
No.
Is this the guy that? Is this? Did we meet you already, Brock?
I don't think so.
No.
Oh.
I ended up bringing, and I like reached out to my friend Robert. That's the guy who you guys met.
Oh,
With me.
okay.
That was Robert, who's like docile
Okay.
and won't hurt a fly, as obvious by this
Yeah.
fuckwit over here who just goes for the jugular every fucking time.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you're totally different on the microphone than you are. It's like you're like, oh, I don't have to see you face to face, so I can say whatever I want and be a jerk.
No,
But
this is
when
how I
I'm,
am.
like,
This is how he
in front of
is.
you,
Yeah.
I can be like, I had to be censored and stuff.
Was Tim at RenCon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim was the guy that wouldn't leave, and you're like, oh, the table hugger's here again.
Wow. He just fucking threw you under the bus there, Greg.
What?
Which hugger was Tim?
Which table
Table
hugger
hugger
was Tim? Wow. Okay. Sure.
We're totally joking with you. We worked this out before the show, dude.
I mean, I figured because like we had like that fucking intense conversation about our mutual friend Molly.
Tim, man, how you been?
Jesus, now you fucking remember. You didn't fucking remember.
Or he still doesn't remember, and he's just like, I gotta play into this, or I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Just let's get it over with.
No. You like I've told you, and you told me. We all know. Once you mention Molly, it's all about Molly.
It's true.
There's a
it's
thing about-
true.
That's funny.
Totally worked this out for the show, guys.
Yeah, of course you did. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't want to keep taking up any of your more of your guys' generous time that you guys have donated to our little show over here. So why don't we wrap it up? If there's anything you guys wanted to say or talk about before we bounce, or continue to further pimp, now would be the time.
Starlight, or Starry.
Starlight coming out in January on the Kickstarter. You should totally back it if you like cool stories about cool stuff and cool people doing cool things with space cat pirates and spiders
got ravers.
and ravers and ecstasy and
Drugs.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I will say, I mean, didn't Travis, didn't you and Brett like totally come up with the whole concept at Burning Man? Not to derail the end of this whole entire podcast, but
Well, sorta.
okay.
So we went to Burning Man. Brett and I did.
All good stories start this way and end this way.
Actually, my next book involves that too. But anyways, Brett was like, you should write it. You should. Well, Brett first said you gotta stop being a ghostwriter. He's like, you gotta stop doing it. Just stop taking the jobs and do your own thing. And I was like, I don't know, dude. I get a $10,000 to $30,000 check every time I do something, so it's nice. I don't have to rely on it actually succeeding. I get money whether it succeeds or not. And well, that's the one thing you guys should know about ghostwriting. Get paid up front. That's it.
That's nice.
Well, I mean that's good, and if you are a legend in the secret inner circle of interlocking rings of the Ghostwriters Association of America, I mean that's good.
Gua,
Yeah,
gua.
yeah, the guy.
War is awesome.
But the ring has gua at the bottom of it. Little ruby eyes on the ghost.
Yeah. Like perhaps the
Uh,
ghost is perhaps devouring another live specimen.
or it looks like a Pac-Man ghost,
Yeah.
but also like a symbol. It's
Yeah.
got gems. Whoa, and it's really big and gaudy.
It's like bigger than a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, Super Bowl ring, a bunch of diamonds in it, but it's always missing one diamond that's different from somebody else's diamond. They interlock.
That's how I knew. That we were,
That's how I knew.
Like, oh hey, and they went together, and I was like,
Oh,
something of my jellies.
guys, let me one up this. Not only that, but the different colored gems in the eyes tell you what kind of ghostwriter they are. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, when you see a ghostwriter, that's a film ghostwriter. Gems. Right? I got ruby, emerald, sapphire, and I'm like, oh god, that guy has all the ghostwriting badges.
All the gym badges.
Jesus, so all the colors are based off of the fucking Pokemon titles? Okay.
Yeah.
Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire. Say again?
Said I got all 9 of all 8 badges.
All 9 of all 8 badges. There you go.
You found the 9th badge by using strength to push the truck.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Might be a deep cut for some people.
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be strength. It'd be called writer's flex.
Yeah, right.
He's got that all the time. Flex so hard.
To get you guys back onto your pinpoint, so you got Fork family members who are listening to this show, you can find their comic at starlightcomicbook.com. That's light spelled Lite. And I say that specifically because I googled it earlier and it brought up some sinkware, and I was like, "What the? This is not a comic book."
No, it's not.
So go ahead and check that on out after the show. That's starlightcomicbook.com. Anything you wanted to throw in there, Greg?
Just that I'm trying to think. I think we've talked about I pimped the other projects. We pimped the shop.
You didn't want to pimp the fact that Junior Braze is a thing that people can find in stores today.
Oh yeah, Junior Braze the Apocalypse is a thing that you can find in stores today. You can find it at your local comic book retailers. You can find it at your Barnes and Nobles, Amazons, Books a Million. Your trying to think of Shetland and Charles, your Kinnikinas, your major book retailers and or your Amazons and stuff like that. Or you could even come down to your local retro Emporium and pick up a copy. And if you buy it nights and weekends, this guy right here, Gregory K. Smith, will sign it for you. Made out to you, personalized and special. And then you could sell it on eBay for 3 times as much as it's worth in stores.
I thought you were going to say 3 times less.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to buy some books for the signing the other day, and I couldn't get anything sooner. And I grabbed some books from a buyer, like a bookseller, and I got a book that was like a decommissioned library book, and it was like that wasn't what I had thought I was purchasing, and it was like both heartbreaking as well as like, oh, I'm gonna keep this so that when something like amazing happens with Braves or any of the other products that I'm working on, I can hold this in my like a little bookshelf and be like, yep, somebody threw this thing away.
Wait. So you have a Junior Braves of the Apocalypse book that's got a library stamp jacket on it from a library that got decommissioned that carried your book.
Yeah.
I mean, that
was,
actually
like,
might be worth
purchased,
money.
I know, it was like it probably and I purchased it for like 3 times less than what the book retails for. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, when I opened up the package, I was so excited because I was like, oh, I really need a hard copy of this book, and I opened it up and I was like, what the heck? What the mother loving, tater tot eating, goat dog heck is this thing? And it was like all like looked like it came out of the library, and I thought somebody had jacked it from the library and sent me a library book.
You're like,
oh
no,
my gosh.
you take the fine.
And like I was almost in tears too, because I was like, why would a library do that? They did me so dirty.
Oh man.
But at the same time, it was like also like, it happens. I realized that not every kid out there or library out there is gonna, libraries, they got a lot of books that gotta go in there. And if a kid's not reading it, they gotta go. New books come out every day. I'm not special. So, but when Junior Braves 3 comes out, ooh, watch out. Or that thing that gets announced in June for Junior Braves. Watch out. Gosh, I want to say it. I can't.
And if you're on Twitter and the Twitter folks want to follow you guys, they should be able to connect with you guys at Starlite Comic. Again, light spelled L-I-T-E.
Correct.
Yeah. You're welcome.
and they can find us on Instagram on the Starlite TE.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
You guys keep saying LITE, and I'm just like, I totally reminded me. This is how much I remember about stuff I write. I forgot that it's spelled LITE because that's actually a plot point in the book.
Ooh. I mean, I figured that it just made sense because there was like other Starlight things that were superhero associated that were spelled like LIGHT. But if it's a plot point, fair.
I wrote it.
What was that, Travis?
But it's again?
He's breaking up. Try again, Travis.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't know that there was another character named Starlight out there, and it's hard to explain, but it's actually a plot point in the story, not necessarily associated to that. But yeah, it was a little weird. But you can't change it because then it changes the plot point. So
fair enough. Well, all right, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure interviewing you. It was good talking with you, Greg, who, of course, remembers me explicitly, and then Travis, only at the end did he realize he was talking to. Great.
Oh, my gosh. That was
you broke up. I think you said Ollie's friend.
Oh, man, everybody's just living in her shadow. It's her world. We just live in it.
You're making her sound like some mythical unicorn beast.
I mean, you know.
I do know. I know it very well.
Yeah. I mean,
she is unicorn.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Or
basically.
Oh man, if you guys could detect the undertones of like wistfulness and like sadness in that.
Detect it. I think anyone who knows her portrays that when they talk about her.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, all right, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you have a good rest of whatever time zone you're in, Travis. And hopefully, Greg, you and your wife have a busy rest of your Sunday.
It's already going awesome because you guys help make it awesome. People are already streaming to the doors because of this live stream podcast you do. It is.
It's not live, Greg.
It's not live? Oh my gosh. These people are just coming in because they're awesome customers. We love the folks and we love you. Thank you for having us on.
Not a problem.
Thanks,
Talk to you guys later.
That was great.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
This is Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival, by author Tim K. Trotter. Available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
And cut! All right, that was great. Thank you guys so much. We're technically still recording, but
I want to say something else.
Yeah.
You guys are fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Greg, for waiting until after the show to give us a genuine sentiment.
I gave it to you a minute ago.
I'm just clowning around.
No,
my face is open. It's smiling.
Your face is open and it's smiling?
Yeah.
That's weird. Dude, you might need to go to the hospital if your face is open and smile.
Oh man. But seriously though, thanks for coming on. It was good. Yeah, sorry we had a bunch of technical glitches right at the beginning, and obviously there was some cut-ins and cut-outs with both of your guys' mics. I mean, it fucking happens.
It's true. It does.
Yeah.
But that's what editing.
Thanks for having us, because I mean, this is you guys were our first podcast for Starlite.
Oh, really? Well, it didn't seem like anybody else wanted to fucking help you out, so.
It's true. No one has taken the call that I put up on the Instagram or the Twitters or the Instagrams, except for Tim.
Well,
Tim
I'll let you guys know when the podcast is edited and it's live. And I'll tweet it out from my Tim account, and then I'll tweet it out from the podcast account.
Sweet.
And I'll link it to your Starlite guys, so you guys can promote that on the Starlite, and then your personal Twitters or your professional Twitters, whatever you want to call it.
Do we have professional Twitters?
Right, dude, you have like 80 Twitters, Greg. Don't lie.
It's true. I do. I just remember that I had another one that I don't know how to open.
Oh no.
Hey, Greg, do you want my?
Do I want what?
You want my Twitters?
Do I want your Twitters? For what?
For your collection.
Yeah. Yes, give me the Twitters.
You have to buy his Twitters.
I don't want to buy them. I just want to steal them.
I traded Twitters.
Yeah.
You traded them?
Well, very good, gentlemen. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna let you guys get back to whatever you're doing on an island there, Travis. What are you doing on an island? Honestly, what are you doing?
My parents bought a house on one of the islands in the Sound, and they had me come out for the weekend. So,
oh, that's cool. That was
it's terrible.
See, it's like wow, Jesus. I mean, is it a fixer upper?
The whole island.
No, it's just a big house on an island, so there's hardly any internet. And there's no other really houses on the island. There's like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 houses on this whole island. And so they don't
gosh.
really try to put the internet out here. So it's just, it is what it is. But the house is huge and it's really remote because it's on an island.
Well, I would
So-
think if it's an island, like that's boat or private helicopter right there.
Yeah. Actually, it used to have a ferry, but now has a tiny little like 1-lane bridge across
Yeah.
the sound.
Okay,
And,
so it's connected by a bridge.
Yeah, now.
Okay,
They put a bridge in during the 70s or something like that.
gotcha.
But still, nobody lives out here. It's Harsty. I don't know if you guys ever been out to Harsty. Like, if you've
Harsty.
ever been like a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout, you might have camped out on the island.
I mean,
No.
I have been both actually.
You
Greg,
never camped at Harsty?
no, we never went up that far. What is that, north?
No, south.
Well, we never went up that direction.
It's like
Down that direction.
What
like
the
down by
fuck?
Anderson. Is it down by Anderson? No.
Oh, man, I'm getting out really bad.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you enjoy the rest of that giant desolate house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Goes straight for murder. I
Was
can
that
just
great?
It was Greg. It was Greg. It was Greg doing that. I can totally just imagine him just like being like around your house, just making that noise, just like moving around your.
I couldn't let you say it on the air, dude.
It was right at nuts. It was great.
That's like half the stuff. I'm like, there's some friends that'll let you say and do whatever, and then there's some friends that are like Greg that are like, I gotta protect the guy. I'm your guy, Travis. I'm your guy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was good that you did that, Greg, because like every time I talk to Travis long enough, he always talks about all these different projects. Then he's like, "Fuck, don't tell anybody that."
I
don't know, Travis. How many years have we known each other now? We're going on 5
5 or 6.
5 or 6 years now. I think I've gotten to I know the Travis rhythm where I'm like, okay, this is where I know I don't have to, but I probably should. I probably should.
Say something. It's like you can tell when I'm about to leak information. You're like,
I should probably like either try to redirect the conversation or I should just like, Travis, don't say that.
Yeah.
Because I know the Travis rhythm of where Travis goes when Travis Rabbit trails.
Well, I mean, that's good though. That's good though. It helps to have people like who are.
That's rich, man.
It is. I mean, you know, like
that's a bond.
Yeah, like I said, like me and this fucking joker to my left here known each other for so fucking long, and now we work and live together.
Yeah.
Which we never thought would fucking, like, never anywhere in any of our, like, fucking, like, oh, who's gonna win in a fight, Batman or Superman? Superman will kick Batman's ass, but Batman's smart and will fuck him up with kryptonite. Like, we never thought, like, in a million, like, it was never one of those, like, childhood things that was, like, ever discussed.
Yeah.
And it was just something that fucking happened.
Live together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And now you do. You live in the dream.
Living the
Or
dream.
the nightmare.
I mean,
Or
it's something.
Yeah. It's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, it could be a fuckload worse.
Yeah.
The baby could be there.
No, he lives here with me.
Nah,
Oh.
he's got a 4, almost 5-year-old.
Yeah,
okay.
my kid turns 5 in January.
Oh, wow.
And he's
As
lived
long
with
as
me
they-
full time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he won custody.
Oh hey, you won. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he crushed her because she's fucking crazy.
And terrible.
Oh wow.
wait, was this a stand girl?
This is the one night stand girl, yeah.
It was a one-night stand, so I mean, that's how they always are in the end.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a good thing.
Well, good for you.
It's a crazy story. It's one that is well worth the listen over coffee or drinks or whatever.
Yeah, you've talked about it a couple times on the podcast this year.
Yeah,
I
actually, yeah, I dropped.
because we've had a couple of guests on, and they've been like, "The fuck is up with this kid you're talking about?"
Yeah,
And there's like no wife in the picture.
and I think one of our listeners actually specifically asked. He's like,
Yeah, it was
"What's
like-
the deal with your kid?" Like, and I kind of broke it down, fairly simply, over the course of like 20 or 30 minutes on that episode.
You talked about it for a while, as I recall.
Yeah,
Like I feel like you went like the what you could talk about, like A to Z list.
yeah, crazy bitches.
I'll
Yeah,
have to go and check it out.
yeah. I don't know which episode it is, but I could probably find it out for you.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of fun talking to you guys. Appreciate the time.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation.
Yes.
Bad communication errors and all due to islands and internets and secondary microphones and Skype fucking up.
James wiring.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what it was? All right. I want to just lay this out here. And usually I lay it out right in the front of the episode because my audience likes to know. So we record on Skype, and I've got a Mac, and we use Blue Yeti mics.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using Skype and this app called Call Recorder by Ecamm for literally over a decade. And so I flipped on my laptop, turned it on, booted it up, made sure I got all the updates. When I assume it was Greg on the Twitter account was just like, yo, let's do this in an hour and 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. And so like I went over and I updated it. Everything was good. And then like I booted up Skype and I was about to check. And then it was like, this version of Call Recorder is incompatible with Skype. And I was like, the fuck you say? So I had to go back in the fucking backup and retrieve an old version of Skype from like October, I guess.
Oh.
And then I had to boot that up, put in all the fucking passwords, be like, okay, shit. Okay, it looks like it's working. It looks like it's working. And then I had it working for a minute when I think Travis got on first, but there was like some weird feedback from the mic. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just quit out of the app and then like reinitialize the driver for the mic and everything will be good again because that's like an old standby. But current Skype, once you quit, fucking updates. So I had to go back and retrieve the fucking old program. When Brock was talking, I was like, he fucked everything up. Give him 5 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, God damn you, Skype. And then normally we have 2 mics, one for each of us here. But the second mic was not cooperating, and I wasn't going to spend a bunch of time fucking around with it, trying to get it perfect. So, yeah. That's the truth of shit.
That sounds rough, actually.
I'm sure probably
Travis
can understand that probably a bit.
Was there a manual for you to read?
Fuck off. No. No, Greg, there was a manual. It was written by Travis, actually.
Oh.
No.
I wouldn't doubt it. You wouldn't see his name on it. He ghost wrote the script.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you very much for the time. And I'm glad we were finally able to do this only like 3 months later. Greg.
I know, but it's perfect timing. We're getting into the groove of things. We appreciate it.
For sure. All right, Greg, Travis, take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Oh, which one is this?
This is Travis.
Hey, Travis. I can hear you fine.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me fine, Brock?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I feel a little bit quiet, but that might just be the speaker. Oh, wait, it's the speaker off? Oh.
Possible. Are you using a speakerphone, or what are you doing?
Using my cell phone that I just bought.
Okay.
And I'm trying the speaker on.
Well, I mean, you should be able to hear me.
Oh, I can hear you, just not very loud.
I'm not quite situated on my microphone yet.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah, 1 second. Shut up.
Sounds like
Keep something up there.
like some crazy dubstep. Can you hear that coming through?
Sleep on this? Is it music?
That's weird. I'll just kill the call.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, this microphone works.
Who brought the choo-choo train?
It was not me. I hope it wasn't me. Oh Lord, it wasn't me.
Yeah, I think that little thrum is you.
What could it be?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Oh, it could be Tim. Let's just blame it on Tim.
What's happening?
It's your fault. That's what's happening.
I mean, I know it's my fault, but what's happening now?
Oh, there's a slight or like faint little hum in the background.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, like 110 hertz.
Little beep. I mean,
I was hoping somebody got the joke. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Better
what did
or
you
worse?
do?
I unplugged the mini fridge.
It was 110 hertz. I knew it.
Yeah, right in that range. Right in that range. Okay, cool.
Everyone knows the noise.
Okay, you cut out a little there, Travis.
Yeah, that might happen.
Okay.
I'm on an island.
Of course you are.
And I'm going to apologize that there will probably be a beeping sound, doorbell, the front door has now opened.
Oh, that's fine.
You now have a visitor.
That's fine.
As I'm in the back room of the shop.
I see.
Or I might occasionally get a, hey, do you know where this is?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Greg sounds fantastic. Travis sounds as good as he can be coming from an island of undisclosed origin.
Yes.
I would hope either a writer's retreat, a vacation, or something else.
I mean, it's the
Parents'
holidays. It's the holidays, man.
I mean, that's fair. That's very fair. Okay, cool. So we have an hour. Yes?
I mean, I have an hour. Travis has. I don't know how much time. Travis, how much time do you have?
Apparently, all the time in the world, I'm on an island.
Travis is an island.
Okay, I see. So he's on the island from Lost. Got it. He's moving through time. We get it. Fair enough. Okay, cool. So what specific beats did you wish to hit upon for the comic and such, Travis? Because I know Greg knows how to roll with the punches on this show, but since you've never been on, I don't know what kind of prep he gave you, if any.
None.
Fuck. Classic Greg.
That's the best.
On the podcast, it's probably going to be 3 hours. And I was like, oh.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. So the gist of it is we're rolling now. Like most of this stuff, unless you specifically say otherwise, will be in an outtake section at the end of the show. We only have 2 rules on the show: is we don't talk about religion or politics, because that just makes everybody angry, and why bother? And then beyond that, you guys are the guest on the show, and obviously, your guys' point is to pimp Starlite and get that word out to the sub below millions of subscribers that we have for this show. Well, there was
dozens of listeners.
Yes.
We're like local access, like the local access TV show that the high school puts on in Texas.
Jeez, it's terrible.
That's actually our demographic, Travis, right? That's the demo we're going for.
Basically.
Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah.
Spot on.
Basically. Well, since I want to be considerate of everybody's time, we're going to get right into it. So basically, I'm going to scream cut into my microphone so I get that nice beat on the waveform for later when I edit. So don't be alarmed. And then I'll do, I'll do like a welcome to the show. This is my name, co-hosts, and then we have guest stars. Do you want me to introduce you guys, or do you guys want to introduce yourselves? How would you like to do that?
I'm fine with you introducing us. That way it goes along with your theme. I don't know how Greg feels. He's been on the show before, but
No, yes, please introduce us.
Okay, fair enough. And I assume Greg's fine with his full name. Are you fine with your full name, Travis Webb?
That's fine.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Gotta ask. Some people get skittish. Be like, no, you're gonna call me Skeletor. Or some such thing.
He likes Lion-O.
Lion.
I'm not in my 20s.
Fair enough. All right, well let's get this show rolling. So here we go. Cut in.
I mean, we could push pause for a second.
Yeah, we could push pause for a second, Brock. I'm actually gonna bring you into this room anyway because you're breaking up worse.
Are you sure it's me?
Yeah, it is you. I can hear it, and it's like you're kind of garbly.
You guys are in the same
Okay.
places?
So
Yeah,
this is
different rooms.
yeah. So this is what I was telling you, Greg. So got a house, and then I'm in the process of taking over my father's business with my best friend, and
Part of
we
the
live
podcast
together.
now.
Yeah.
Travis is like, oh crap, I'm dropped. Did the call drop? Did the call drip? The call dropped. I dropped the call. Oh, God.
Did he say any of
the
this?
truth. What?
Hang
I'm
on.
back.
Okay, cool.
Hey, he's back.
We're
You
doing
tripped the call, dude.
we're doing a little bit of shimmy shallying around here. Brock is coming out of the other room, and we're going to go onto this one mic here.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
of course, before I got on the call and could be hearable, we had that weird feedback on the call,
Right.
and then my backup mic failed, and then Skype decided to shit the bed twice. So,
And then Travis fell off the call.
yeah, and then Travis
He
fell off the
tripped.
continent.
Well, it's the smoke monster was coming for him. He had to hide.
Exactly. 1 second.
It was a giant bear.
There. All right, so Travis is back. Yeah.
Travis is back. So Travis, we discussed while you're gone, you're going to tell us about Starlite, but not right yet.
Yeah,
As
but
soon as-
wait a second. We're plugging some cords into other shit.
once Tim is done, he's gonna he's got a big lump of turds, and he's gonna plug the cords into it, and then once the cords are all plugged into the turds, then he's gonna let you go.
Okay.
Sound good?
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Ah!
What did you just drop?
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, so it goes. So just shove this pole right between us. Oh my
I have no idea what that is. And it's super loud through my
god. It's a
headset.
Velociraptor. Do you want to get a different headset?
That's the only headset I have.
Shit. Let me. 2 seconds. Hang on, guys. Is it still doing that
Yeah, it's like...
Velociraptor noise? It's probably Greg.
Oh.
I don't even know.
It reminds me of the baby T-Rex in Jurassic Park, whatever. When they're in the fucking battle RV.
Yeah.
That's the second one when they have the battle RV, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if these are any better.
And it goes off a cliff, and they're like hanging from a cliff.
It's
When
probably
they
not
had
gonna work.
the
Dude.
Mercedes Benzes and not the Toyota.
Oh shit! That cord is literally cut.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What?
And Travis,
Wait, what cord
you
were
want to do a podcast? This is what podcasting is like.
Literally, the other morning, I got up at 5:30 a.m. for you to tell me they were canceling. I wanted
Better,
to
worse?
burn everybody's.
Better? Or worse?
Yeah, I guess it's all right.
Is it better than that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
You're the one who has to change the setup every time you set up. Like, I don't get it. Like, consistency is not that hard. Every time
You know,
he sets it up
I don't
totally
see you
different.
fucking doing it.
Yeah, because I don't set up electronics like this. Whatever. I set it up like an adult.
Fuck off.
And then leave
Oh
it.
wow! I sense some tension in the room.
We've known
guys.
each other our whole lives.
Yeah, we're going on
Literally. All the cuts are
20 5 years.
That's got to be more than 25 years.
26?
26 years.
26, yeah.
26 years deep.
Yeah,
And salted to the core.
I was gonna say, sounds salty.
With the wound open as we're raking across the asphalt.
Yeah.
Salt preserves things.
It does.
Opens old wounds.
All right, is everybody back?
Here,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, cool. How do myself and Brock sound since I rejiggered everything?
A little quieter. But that
Little-
might be my phone.
A little quieter. We can shove this. Actually, no. Maybe. Oh no, we can go like this here. Put that there. Rotate this here. How's that?
Better butter?
Yeah, seems the same.
Okay, cool. Well, we can only move it another 5 inches into our mouth hole, so hopefully this will do.
do it.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna scream cut in again, and then like I think Greg was mentioning as I was fucking around with cords and cables and whatnot, he wanted you to explain like the gist of the story to entice people into handing over their monies. Travis?
Yeah, I'll just tell the whole story so I don't have to buy it.
I'm
Perfect.
Oh no!
Don't do that.
Remember, we had the elevator pitch at the table. You were getting it.
Totally forgot the elevator pitch.
Do you want me to do it?
Go for it, Greg. I forgot. You asked what Greg was for. This is what Greg's for. I forgot the elevator
All right.
pitch.
Okay, cool. Let me yell and cut in Greg, and then wait a few seconds and come in right after that. Okay?
And then you tell me, hey Greg, do the elevator pitch.
Yeah. Okay, I will.
Okay. All right.